Gloria Gonzalez de la Kia.
Here.
Anna Smith.
I'm here. Here.
Christine Maurer.
Here.
Trish Bodie.
Here.
Sade Fashokun.
Here.
Francesca Romans.
Here.
Paul Gauthier.
Here.
It is 6:15 p.m. and with the quorum of the board present, I call this meeting of Leander ISD Board of Trustees to order. It is my pleasure to welcome Cadet Landry McElry of the Lone Star Company Navy Junior ROTC at Vista Ridge High School to lead the Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge. Cadet McElry is a 9th grade student at Vista Ridge High School and the daughter of Tricia and Sandy McElry. She is an active member of the Lone Star Company's unarmed drill and color guard teams. Cadet McElry takes pride in serving the community as a volunteer at Veterans Memorial Park and local Adopt-A-Road cleanups. Despite being her first year in NJROTC, Cadet McElry has completed in 6 trail competitions and has accumulated over 30 hours of community service. Her commitment to service, sharp personal appearance, and exemplary conduct earned her the designation of Cadet of the Month for April 2024. Cadet McElry's performance and dedication were also a vital part of the Lone Star Company's success, which resulted in her unit winning the state drill competition at Texas A&M in College Station. Her actions reflect most favorably on the Lone Star Company Navy Junior ROTC, her school, and Leander ISD. Well done. Please stand.
Please stand in joining me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
If you'll join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you again, Cadet McElry. If we can give her another hand of... All right, now we're going to move to the spotlight on learning and hear from a few of our students and staff from Aiken Elementary and Vista Ridge High Schools.
Good evening, Madam President, Leander ISD board members, and Dr. Goering. I am the proud principal of Montajane Aiken Elementary, and these students are a few of our 5th grader entrepreneurs. This is my first year in my principalship, and one of the first things I did was survey the staff on a pause, keep, and create for systems and programs on campus. The word enrichment was listed on pause and create. As I investigated the why behind this, I discovered that the barriers with enrichment are that time-consuming for our teachers, not programmed, and therefore it's hard to weave through the curriculum. And there's little accountability on the effectiveness due to no assessment to measure their success. As a former administrator at a high school that programmed incubator, I knew the potential benefits of bringing fresh ink experience to Aiken. Misty Powell and I met in the incubator room at Vista Ridge High School in July, and we discussed that I was looking for an enrichment opportunity with a built-in curriculum, an assessment to measure its effectiveness, a partnership with students who could lead the work and minimize the burden on our teachers. This is where we planned and strategized becoming the first school to bridge Incubator and the Fresh Ink experience. Vista Ridge Incubator students travel to Aiken Elementary every other Friday to collaborate with our 5th grade team and provide lessons that identify a problem, need, or want, design a solution, pitch a business idea, create the solution, sell the invention, and then analyze the effectiveness. Our 4th graders were invited as an audience in a Shark Tank model where they were given tickets to invest in their 5th grade inventions. This partnership has steered our students to become the Leander ISD learners empowered to enrich our world through character development, academic success, and fulfillment. While I can speak on how this was planned and accomplished, I cannot speak to the effectiveness of creating the most sought-after creators of our future world quite like our students can. At this time, I would like to introduce our 5th grade entrepreneur, Colton Lindsay.
Hello. These are my fellow classmates and 5th grade entrepreneurs, Memphis, Triton, and Mo, and our Vista Ridge Incubator partners, Tyler and Manas. Triton, what did you create as your startup product? How did your team decide what to create?
My team and I decided to make an automatic dog feeder because we all had something in common that annoys us a lot: having to feed our dogs. We figured out that we were all annoyed when we constantly had to feed our dogs every few hours or so. We wanted dog owners to be able to rest comfortably so that they can have a relaxing day instead of having to put dog food into a dog bowl every few hours, making their day tiring and hectic. We needed to figure out what recyclable materials we needed to actually build our product model. We decided we can build it with cardboard, bottle caps, and a 2-liter plastic bottle. The way we assembled it was when we cut out the cardboard into a big rectangle, then we cut off the top, bottom, and a sliver on the side of the bottle. Then we hot glued the bottle onto the cardboard, the small side on the bottom sticking out a bit. After that, we used 4 bottle caps, drenched them in red, blue, white, and yellow paint to make them look like buttons. Then when they dried, we got a Sharpie and wrote on and off on one, fast on one, normal on one, and slow on one. Lastly, we hot glued the bottle caps onto the cardboard, which gave us our finishing result.
Memphis, how has the Fresh Ink experience at Aiken changed you?
Fresh Ink is a program that is open to everyone in 5th grade, and this program teaches people how to work together. It's a really fun experience. This was a struggle as my team had more people than I was used to working it with in a group. So it's kind of hard to work as a team, but my team got over this and kept going. It was still a fun working together and collaborating with my friends throughout the Fresh Ink experience. This program basically teaches people about how entrepreneurs work and how they make their product. For example, my team wanted to have more security, so we decided to create a box which looks like a book with a camera inside. Our product records the evidence when it's camouflaged in a bookshelf.
Triton, could you describe a significant challenge you encountered during the planning phase of your startup? How did you and your team manage to overcome it?
One really difficult challenge that I had to face was that some of my teammates were struggling to stay focused on our project work. It was distracting us from being productive. I had to take the lead in the group and seriously ask them to get back on track, more than once. It was a struggle every time we worked together. This helped me realize that I can help my group to stay focused and get work done. And it gave me more confidence for my future. Now I can actually picture myself being an entrepreneur and leading a group.
Mo, why do you feel that Aiken should continue the partnership with Vista Ridge High School kids next year?
We should continue Fresh Inc. because it teaches kids solving problem skills because you have to think of a problem and solution. The problem that my group chose was when your clothes get wet, they are uncomfortable. So we made waterproof clothes. Also, we had to work together when we were put in a group with people that we didn't always agree with. This shows how they teach us to work together. Vista Ridge students helped us figure out how to add things so we could all agree and be happy with our presentation. Like when we could not agree on a slogan, Vista Ridge students helped us come up with so comfortable you can wear it wet.
Tyler, how did you support the Aiken students in creating their projects?
This year, we've worked with the Aiken students to use their creativity and unique mindsets as we worked our way through the Fresh Inc. program. They're very creative, and it was a great time.
Manas, why do you feel that Aiken should continue the partnership with Vista Ridge High School kids next year?
I believe that Aikens and Vista Ridge High School have a symbiotic relationship with the Aikens program because for high schoolers, it benefits us because we get to see the creativity of these fifth graders and see how, wow, these kids are actually way smarter than we give them credit for. And for the for the fifth graders, it's helpful to them because they get to learn from someone who's closer to their age and who they can relate to more. We can make jokes in the class that they understand, and they'll be able to just have a better time engaging and learning from us.
Tyler, what advice would you give aspiring fourth grade entrepreneurs who will be experiencing Fresh Inc. next year?
I would say have fun. Learn from others, work with each other, and work on something you can be passionate about. Choose something that interests you.
The advice that I would give is that one of the most important parts is to have fun, be yourself, and make new friends you haven't met. I found out what others' strengths are, like being organized. Some of the skills you will learn will be skills that you will use in all areas of your life, like coming up with new ideas, being open to new ideas, and don't leave anyone out. Don't be afraid to ask the high schoolers for help or understanding. You fail as a team, and you succeed as a team. When we make mistakes, we talk it over. Say what we did and do the process better and cleaner.
I am Crystal Lucero. I'm a fifth grade teacher, and I got to experience all of this partnership firsthand. We provided you with copies of letters that our fifth graders wrote, asking for Fresh Inc. to be something that we continue at Aiken. And when you read through the letters, one of the things that you're going to see is that every single one of the students talked about how they learned to be more collaborative, how to work in larger groups, how to be leaders when maybe they are not our leader already on campus, and to help their group focus and get into the learning. What we really want you to see is that the fifth grade students, with the help of the Vista Ridge High School students, have become empowered learners through these guiding lessons and collaborative work with their teams. They reflected on real-world problems and collaborated with a team of students to creatively develop solutions that can be contributed to the world. Each student was able to use their own unique gift to contribute to the team's success. I was blown away by the thoughts, innovation, and practice that went into the team's product and potential problems that they may face with their new products and startup businesses. These students worked in teams of 6, which is much larger than their typical teams of students of 4. They really had to learn to communicate, to collaborate, and compromise to complete their projects. I believe that Fresh Ink is a unique, fun, and a perfect enrichment experience for students of Leander ISD that has helped strengthen each of the skills that we value in Leander ISD on the graduate profile.
Thank you all so much for sharing with us. Thank you for coming over here and sharing your stories. And thank your moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and everyone else for making the drive over here too. Y'all really are the best part of our board meetings, is hearing from our students. So thank you all for being here. And we're gonna take a photo with y'all. All right, thank you, Aiken and Vista. That was wonderful. Next, we're going to watch a video highlighting some of the outstanding things that are happening in Leander ISD.
Howdy, 1LISD. Welcome to the board meeting. I'm Lincoln Hook.
And I'm Ava Vanna, and we're students at Vandergrift High School.
It's the last week of school. We can't believe how fast this year has gone by. We've accomplished so much together, but we're not done just yet. Let's start off on the fairway, where students putted their way to victory, bringing home the gold again.
For the second year in a row, Vandergrift's girls golf team won first place at the UIL state competition. The girls were so dominant that they took home the gold and silver medals in the individual competitions as well. Swetha Satish won first place while Sydney Gibbons won second place. Congratulations to an amazing group of student athletes. With a running start, we're tracking limitless success for a handful of track and field contestants.
In 5A, Cedar Park High School's Isabel Conde de Frankenberg won the first place in the girls' 800-meter race, while also picking up a second place finish in the 1600-meter race. In the 6A division, Vista Ridge High School's Emma Wade finished with the silver medal in the 1600-meter race. Congratulations to these super fast young women with their outstanding achievements this season. Our athletes aren't the only ones succeeding at UIL. Students in the fine arts across the district deserve a round of applause for their hard work.
Students were tasked with building their own unique world centered around the play Hades Town. In this year's theatrical design competition, Vista Ridge's Carly Klein was named state champion for her work in the hair and makeup design category. In the group design category, the team from Rouse won the silver medal. Such incredible masterminds of creativity and technique. Your hard work has paid off. Career and technical education competitions are wrapping up, and Leander ISD continues to shine bright in every event.
Let's start with the robotics competition, where 2 teams from Vandergrift didn't just take on other teams in the state, they went and challenged the rest of the world. The Viperbots Ouroboros team received the first place design award in the Edison division at FTC World Championships. On the FRC side, the Valor team went as far as placing 3rd in the Milstein division. At the state level, Ouroboros received first place in the Connect Award at the Texas FTC State Championship and were joined by another Vandergrift team, Viperbots Recoil, which notched a 3rd place in the same award. Cedar Park High School's Robo Lobos received 3rd place in the Control Award. The UIL State Championship saw even more LISD success as Robo Lobos snagged the gold medal as part of the winning alliance and received 1st place in the Innovation Award. Vista Ridge's Chaotic Current earned the Innovation Award's 2nd place and finished as semifinalist. Vandergrift's Leviathan team was another semifinalist and secured 3rd place in the Design Award.
Brick by brick, a group of students from Canyon Ridge Middle School took their Lego team to new heights.
Team Ambrosia brought home 1st place for their innovation project while also racking up awards for their excellence in coaching and mentors. These accomplishments earned them a spot on the world stage where they went up against multiple high school teams. Unfortunately, they did not place at Worlds, but it is still impressive nonetheless to make it as far as they did. Keep that momentum going and remember how proud you make everyone in LISD.
Aspiring journalists in our district were no stranger to the accolades this year. At the Interscholastic League press conference alone, LISD students captured 38 star and individual achievement awards for newspaper, yearbook, and broadcast.
Let's break it down. The Vandergrift boys received an ILPC Bronze Star for online news. That went together with 3 individual 1st places in sports feature story, personal opinion story, and sports action photo. 2nd place in photo portfolio, and 3rd place finishes in video story and general news photo. The Voice also picked up a silver crown for the Columbia Scholastic Press Association. There's one more Vandergrift journalism medal to add to the bunch, with a 3rd place in the UIL state meet in headline writing. In yearbook, the Vandergrift veteran also received an ILPC Bronze Star. Adding to that on the individual side were awards for the top photo portfolio and 1st places in class and club spreads, along with 3rd places in the academic and club photos. On the broadcast side, hey, that's us. We picked 2 2nd places at ILPC in hype video and PSA, and a 3rd place in hype video.
Cedar Park's newspaper, The Wolfpack, saw its own share of success this year, with recognition of Distinguished Sight from School Newspapers Online, and a 3rd place team finish in journalism at the UIL state meet. Individual ILPC awards included in a pair of 1st headlines and photo slideshow, a trio of 2nds and photos slideshow, entertainment feature and in-depth news package, and a 3rd place in computer art. They threw in a 3rd place in feature writing at the UIL state meet for good measure. In yearbook, Cedar Park's tracks received an ILPC Bronze Star and multiple CSPA Gold Circle awards. ILPC individual awards included Best Index and Blended Coverage Spreads, 2nd places for Students' Life Story and Infographic, and 3rd places for Portrait and Infographic.
For broadcast, the Cedar Park High School news team assemble. Sorry, I couldn't help it. The CPHS news team received an ILPC Bronze Star and a 1st place for their on-air team. We're not done yet. Rouse High School's replay received an IPLC Bronze for yearbook, and for broadcast, ILPC awards included 1sts for general sports writing, intro sequence, and daily announcements, a 2nd in graphics, and a 3rd in sports feature story. At the Student Television Network Challenge, this Raider crew struck the podium again with a first in short film, a second in commercial, and 3/3 in silent film, and 2 in separate podcasts. At Leander High School, the Lair received 3 yearbook awards, a CSPA Silver Crown and an ILPC Silver Star, while also being selected to the 2024 Walsworth Galleria of Excellence.
Rounding out this category is Vista Ridge's Lone Star Yearbook, which racked up 3 individual ILPC awards with a second place sports spread and 2 third places in story and feature spread. We are blown away by the talent and commitment to their craft these students have demonstrated.
We like to think we talk pretty well, but we don't hold a candle to some of our students competing in speech and debate.
Starting with Rouse High School, where a dynamic duo landed second place in the National Speech and Debate Association's Heart of Texas competition, qualifying for nationals in the process. At the Texas Forensic Association's debate competition, Vista Ridge had a 3rd place finish in oratory and prose. And just last week at the UIL state meet, Cedar Park reached the podium with 3rd place in the Lincoln Douglas debate.
Hey Ava, remind me to never get into an argument with any of these well-spoken students.
As we've seen in journalism and speech and debate, UIL achievements extend into the classroom.
At last week's academics state championship, the Cedar Park Current Issues and Events team made it on the podium with 2nd place. And for the 3rd straight year, Rouse's social studies team, led by advisor Michael Yott, proved to be best in Texas, picking up 1st place in the individual ranks as well. What an impressive streak for the Raiders.
Speaking of Mr. Yacht, this string of UIL academic success is not the only honor he has received recently.
That's right. Just last month, he was recognized with the Frank Kemmerer Award from the Texas Association of Secondary School Principals. This distinction honors Yacht's enthusiasm for teaching and helping students of all levels succeed in his classes. Congratulations, and thank you for helping students prepare themselves for anything.
Communication can be a tough subject to handle, no matter who you are. However, it is made easier thanks to the speech and language pathologists around the district.
We celebrated Speech Language Pathologist Appreciation Week last week. Here to help us show our gratitude is Assistant Superintendent of Special Programs, Kimberly Waldman.
Happy National Speech Pathology Week. We are excited to celebrate the incredible SLPs in Leander ISD. We know that we are fortunate to have the absolute best in Leander serving in our SLP team. We believe in the power of student voice in Leander ISD, and because of your hard work, dedication, and heart for our students, we know that each and every student has a voice and is able to share that voice in their own way. So thank you for all that you do, celebrate big, and thank you for choosing LISD.
There are just a couple more days until we close the curtain on what we consider to be a historic school year.
Finish strong and enjoy your well-deserved summer vacation. And always remember, there's no place like LISD.
That was awesome. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. Next, we're going to watch next is the citizen comments portion of our agenda. And before I invite the first speaker to the podium, we're going to watch a short intro video.
Hello, my name is Lincoln Hook. I'm a senior at Vandergrift High School. The district and the Board of Trustees are the local government body responsible for serving the educational needs of all school children, like me and my friends here in Leander Independent School District. Their mission is to cultivate each individual student while creating a safe and supportive environment. The board is now taking up the citizen comment agenda item. This is dedicated time during this meeting to hear from the whole community, and the entire LISD family is listening. The district believes the Leander family thrives when we ensure a welcoming, safe, and caring environment. To our speakers, before you speak, we hope you have read guidelines specified in Board Operating Procedures and BED Local. The board wants to hear from everyone. Please be mindful of your conduct and the example you are choosing to set when presenting complex information. Remember that school children of all ages may participate in board meetings, either by watching them online, or you might even see some of us in audience. Still, remember that there are other ways you can communicate with the board. You can send them an email, come to a board cafe, or just tell them that you would like to chat. When the board president calls your number, remember, watch the timer, focus your remarks to the time allotted. We know it can be hard, but please conclude your comments when you hear the chime.
Speaker number 1.
You're on.
Is this working? Oh man, all right. Thank you. I'll start. My name is Jitesh Vaswani. I'm a parent of a 3rd grade student at Parkside Elementary School. We had a Kids First Day on September 22nd, 2023. During the Kids First event, we had several representatives from the Leander district that came and talked about different disabilities that children struggle with, and so other children can be more aware, considerate, and more compassionate towards those disabilities. Here's the thing, what parents don't know is what is being talked about at these events. And I'm really talking to the parents here. All 3rd grade children kept moving from one room to the other room as they went through autism, ADSD, hearing disability, visual disability. And all of them went through the autism talk where coincidentally my wife and I both volunteered. That talk went from autism as a disability to autism being an aspiration. Different names of successful people came up, like Mozart, who I don't know how we know if he was autistic, or Einstein, or Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or singer Sia. There was a special attention given to Sia and her appearance. Now here's the problem. Sia has a song called Elastic Heart. That song has 2 actors, a 28-year-old man and a 12-year-old girl. That dynamic is not what we want to normalize in our school systems. I don't know if that was one person's. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker number 1. That is our only speaker tonight, so that concludes our citizen comments. Tonight, we're going to have an order change in our agenda since some of our student presenters are here, and a lot of those student presenters are also participating tomorrow morning, bright and early, at graduation ceremonies. We thought we should put you first in the agenda so you can go home and get ready for your big day tomorrow. So we're going to move to 7AI, which is the Superintendent Student Advisory Council Student Empowerment Report. Y'all can come on up.
All right, good evening, board members, Madam President, thank you. I'm very excited to present our Superintendent Student Advisory Committee this evening. These students have worked exceptionally hard all year with very little direction from us because we choose to try to get out the way as much as possible. And so I'm gonna let them introduce themselves as they come up to speak. They have split themselves into groups as they present tonight. And so it's my pleasure to introduce our Superintendent Student Advisory Council.
Good evening. My name is Francisco, and I'm going to be the first person introducing the Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. So the purpose of tonight is for us to present to you the solutions to the problems that we have come up with this year. Over the course of the year, we started off by recruiting a diverse group of members from across all of Leander ISD schools, trying to get as many different perspectives as we could from the wide range of students that we have at LISD schools. Then we brainstormed issues that were negatively impacting us as students from our perspective that most of you guys probably don't know about from that student experience. And then we continued the work of past SSAC teams, and we came up with new opportunities that we want to expand on. We prioritize those and divide up into teams in order to most successfully tackle them. And over the course of the year, we've been using a lot of different tools in order to tackle those programs, or to tackle those problems the best that we could, and to present to you tonight with solutions that we found best fit for those problems.
Okay, I'm going to introduce the 6 opportunities that you'll hear from tonight. These are the groups that will be speaking. So we have sustainability, flex time, student-led empowerment, life skill awareness, access to resources, and bathrooms. So I'm Samantha, and me and Francisca are going to be presenting for sustainability, and we more specifically focused on recycling. Okay. So we're a committee that came together later in the year, but it seemed that a lot of students and teachers were really passionate about their recycling, and we've learned that regardless of if there's a recycling bin in the classroom, all the waste created goes directly to a landfill. And so a lot of teachers have been organizing out their plastics and papers just for it to be thrown away regardless. And so in making this committee, these are some concerns that we had before presenting to you guys, which is additional district expenses of a recycling system, strain on the janitorial staff, students disrespecting the recycling resources if they were established.
So some current solutions that are happening are some student-run environmental clubs, which have been able to create some solutions. And these are, we were able to start one at our school. We established a Vandergrift Green team, and I know Cedar Park and Vista Ridge has been able to establish some solutions at their school too. And this is just students taking the passion and taking how much they care about this problem and trying to do something about it, and demonstrating how much we would like to see a change in this, and to try to create as much of a change as we possibly can.
And then additionally, in our committee, we also just did some research for other school districts in the nation and around our area, and these are some systems that they have. Other nearby districts have set goals for recycling, such as to recirculate 90% of waste by 2040. So this means all waste is either recycled or reused. And then another thing that I found in surrounding districts is they had scholarships for environmental successes, one directed towards a school that has established a new environmental system, or another to directly to a student that has individually established environmental practices. Yeah.
So, like she said, we just started this committee. So the majority of this year we've spent on problem identification and trying to learn as much of the problem as we can. So we're going to continue this committee next year and try to make some more deeper research and gather a lot of data on the problem of recycling. And then we're going to try to come up with a solution that we can present to you next year, which is going to be in the form of a pilot recycling program for one school that you can enact during the 2025-2026 school year. And then if that pilot program goes well, then we can improve it, or we can see if we can expand it to more schools little by little to see if we can eventually make recycling cover the entirety of Leander ISD. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. Hello, my name is Eden Yu.
My name is Michelangelo Vera.
And we are part of the SAC team developing progress towards improved life skill awareness. For our purposes, we've defined life skills as necessary or desirable skills for full participation in everyday life. Life skills can then be categorized into passive or active. Passive skills are aspects of life that aren't explicitly taught, but are developed to enable interactions with others. In comparison, active skills are tangible actions, which can be taught in single sessions. The importance of this difference is to understand how LISD advocates for each, with our priority today being active skills. First, rather than considering how active skills are being taught, we want to consider what is missing in the foundation of its education. Currently, few active skill resources are offered, with most being classes taught by teachers with a range of experiences in their curriculums. There is also no clear set of learning objectives or any sort of hands-on application. I have personally experienced this as a student who has taken multiple business classes, business marketing, business management, only to have busy work instead. And it's not just me. Using SAC members as sample data, many of us throughout the district feel the same way about having little active skill knowledge. Awareness in general could be the main factor for this. We think life skills are encouraged, but have ultimately been under-prioritized to meet school demands. This includes extracurriculars and academic dedication, but also scheduling problems. This leads to impractical active skill resources, negative mindsets or misunderstandings, and students unprepared for high school, becoming equally insecure in their transition to adulthood. The current readiness of students for future endeavors needs to change, including what is already offered for active skill learning. We need a solution that can encourage positive active skill awareness and establish resources that can adjust to student needs, improving necessary implementation for mastery.
Sorry, one sec. So one potential solution we discussed is improving the current active skills that we have, such as Money Matters, Culinary, and Avid. Now, that we found that revising these classes could solve some of the mentioned issues. However, we found that some of the drawbacks would actually outweigh the benefits that we had in mind. Scheduling and priority issues would continue to remain, and there would be less variation of active skills with each of the classes becoming more focused. There would be less control on our end as students as well, because most of our ideas would be regulated by the TEA. And the amount of initial interest we could have would completely determine whether these classes would be achieved to get the amount of awareness we want out of them. The solution of changing classes and revising them has potential, but the large scale wouldn't completely inhibit the adaptability and increase the difficulty that we want with smaller inconveniences. So instead, we've deemed that the best solution is to be one of a smaller scale, starting with digital resources to share outside of classrooms. All right. Some of these resources, such as this sample chart by STC, cover the many categories of life skills that we have. Now, thanks to the insight from Ms. Denise Iger from Transition and Employment Services, we've discovered a wide variety of similar life skill tools to critically analyze the active skill challenges of many individuals. All these resources can then be referenced after high school and support adulthood transitions. But better digital resources won't exactly achieve the application that we want to have, which is a physical one for the students. So that is why we suggest to do pairing the resources with specific school clubs or flex time to teach active skills in person. Doing so would involve the entire student body more directly in the active skill education process, spreading the awareness that we want as a whole. These shorter sessions of club times will be far less commitment for the teachers and those leading them, and would have much more flexibility for revising them during class, and would allow a lot more adaptability for each of the schools for their own integration in their own class times. The basic core of our plan would be to start with experimenting with ideally one 5A and one 6A school from the district. We'd most likely have members of each of the campus's principal advisory committees develop these programs, including guest visitors to teach up on the favorite classes of the students. And we'd also have digital guides, documents, and readings edited by each of them. Now, with connections with the LISD staff, our team could work to maximize the desired outcome from these mini lessons, using representative feedback to continuously improve without drastic consequence on our progress. And of course, limitations will always be present, so we can't create an ideal time for all the school districts. But results will take time, and what is important is how we accommodate to the student majority in need of these basic life skills. Eventually, we aim to tackle the expansion into a larger range of schools and resources.
I think we'll just wait for questions at the end, if that makes sense. Yep, okay.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Smith. I'm currently a junior at Leander High School. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss the potential implementation of flex time within our district. I want everyone to think back to their high school career. Think about how busy you were, how involved you were, and how you handled all of that. Think about your daily schedules. As students with heavy academic and extracurricular schedules, having flex time available at all schools in the district would greatly benefit the student body. It would enable students to meet with teachers, catch up on assignments, make up tests, and attend club meetings without needing to arrive early or stay late. This time would allow students to mentally prepare for the day and ensure that they are focused and ready for their responsibilities. I believe it is important for the district to have a clear understanding of our purpose and goals. Our purpose statement is to create a consistent flex time system throughout LASD that addresses diverse student interests by providing opportunities for participation in clubs, academic involvement, collaboration, socialization, and fulfillment of other student needs while maintaining a safe environment conducive to teacher needs and administration's concerns.
As Chloe mentioned, in order to do this, we gathered data and conducted research to determine the current state of flex time throughout our district. We found that in schools that already had flex time implemented, almost 99% of students believe that flex time should be kept for high school students. When we asked students how they would utilize this time, a majority said they would utilize it for academic reasons, mental breaks, or extracurriculars, and they were allowed to choose from a variety of different options. And here's a quote from a student. Finally, when we asked students who didn't have flex time currently at their campus, again, a majority of students agreed that they would like to see flex time implemented.
Hi, I'm Zara Sahin, and so after conducting our research, we identified 2 problems that were key to issues that the administrators at schools had regarding flex time. The first one being a lack of attendance for flex time, which stems from a lack of accountability, which was derived from Chloe and Jashida. The second one being an inconvenient user interface for the students and teachers, which stem from the flex time portals from the student end and on the teacher end.
Okay, so last year, a team of 3 students developed the FlexTime app to kind of still address some of these issues. So me and Zara and our team are taking over this app in the coming year to try to kind of address more issues and kind of increase the grasp of what it covers. So the FlexTime app essentially makes the process of portaling more convenient and is kind of a one-stop stop where you can have a bunch of different resources in one place. So we notice that there's many resources that we have in LSD, but it's very difficult for students to actually find them because they're scattered across the website or on many different portals. So we wanted to create one simple app where students could go to where they can simply find anything that they would need.
And so as Pranav mentioned, we essentially want to create a one-stop shop, and the team previous, Adith, Jay, and Sujit, the features that they thought were key and essential to be included in this app included bus tracking, mental health resources, contact information for each respective school, the FlexTime portal, scheduling, the smart tag for the buses, and your ID card.
So in this coming year, we want to address a few other things in this app and kind of increase the amount of things this app covers. So grades is one of them. We want to implement a kind of home access API, so where essentially you can see your grades via this FlexTime app. So you don't have to go through multiple different apps, going through the portaling and home access center. You can go to one simple app and see both your grades and do portaling and find other resources. Next is FlexTime attendance. So right now, FlexTime attendance, especially at certain campuses, is very finicky. So if there is no consequence or no kind of requirement to actually go or take attendance for FlexTime, no one is actually going to do that. So we want to do something that kind of makes it a requirement and has some sort of consequences. So essentially, we will have it where attendance has to be taken during flex time, and if the period before you're counted absent and then the flex time period you're also counted absent, nothing will happen. But if you're kind of present for the period before and there's no pass for you to leave, and you're then counted absent for that flex time period by your teacher, that name will be sent to your assistant principal and you will be called down. And since people are getting consequences for not actually attending these flex times, it'll be a pretty big amount of people for the first week, but it'll decrease in the future weeks. Then is lunch menu, so it makes it easier, once again, that one-stop stop. And finally, bathroom alerts. So the bathroom team wanted to have something in the FlexTime app where you can actually send work orders out and kind of get things fixed in your actual school to see if things can actually be implemented. And they'll talk about that later, but this will also be in this app.
And so, as Pranav mentioned, we want to create an app that covers all of the administrators while also covering the students' needs as well. And so, after conducting our research, we discovered that the ideal flex time would be around 35 minutes a day so that students are able to complete all their work, attend club meetings, engage in retakes, or attend tutorials as well. And so we thought that the best school days for these would be Wednesday, Monday, and Friday. especially after first and fifth period, depending on the A and B day schedule. Additionally, the flex time should be a time allotted to where students can attend different classes or different rooms, again, to attend those meetings, those tutorials. Additionally, as Pranav mentioned, we want to create a system of accountability, and so we will be implementing an attendance system, which would have organized portaling and recorded attendance with a convenient and accessible user interface to where students and teachers wouldn't feel at an inconvenience to record the attendance of these students.
And we firmly believe that the implementation of this app and the fixing of these attendance issues and kind of using this kind of system for flex time make it much more accessible for schools to actually implement and kind of deter like principals and administration from the current consequences or current downsides to implementing a flex time. So this would pretty much mitigate that and increase the kind of satisfaction on both the student and the administration side. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask y'all to go ahead and stay because our other group, I think some of them left. And so I want to make sure we're able to ask questions and have conversation with you before we transition. And we'll come back to your group also because we have questions. So I'll open up the mic for anyone that wants to ask some questions.
I just love the intentionality and the work that y'all did. I have a question for Sarah or Dr. Gehring of like, now that they've made this recommendation, how do we make this a reality?
So since Sarah's back there, I'll jump in. Obviously the app is already live with a very limited scope right now. We will be expanding on that scope. I think their scope is larger than perhaps we're ready for right at this second. So I know Jason's heart is beating fast back there. But what we love about this is that we're prepared for the challenge, right? So what they have identified is what the student needs are and how that connects to what our administrators' needs are to make that problem happen. And so now it's about coming together and trying to figure out how do we find solutions to make that work. So we'll continue working on these issues.
First, I'm so glad that y'all went over flex time. My own students have utilized it at their schools and they loved it because one, it gave them a chance to like engage with their classmates on another level and individuals that they had never like spoken to before. But it also was kind of like that, oh, I forgot to do that paper. I have some time. And so, but what I love though is that y'all brought it up because last year it came to us as well. And I was super excited because it's exactly what you guys need in your environment. I guess my question is for Sarah and Bruce and the other Sarah and Jason. Sorry, Jason. I want to make sure this gets implemented. And I understand that the technology piece to it it's lots of layers, but I don't want to see flex time taken away from campuses because these same students, not this, but this group came up last year and talked about the importance of flex time. And I know some campuses got rid of flex time this year. And so this is the second year our students are asking and needing the help and are asking for us our assistance. So I want to make sure that we are able to give each campus what they need, but also we got to listen to our students. This is second time, and I just want to make sure we're streamlining that across the system, across the district, not system, and it's beneficial and we're listening to our students.
If I could jump in on that, actually. My campus, I go to Leander, I don't have it. I've never had it. I think it got rid of 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm very involved in FFA. I am probably out 40 days of the school year doing things that are getting my career, being so successful. I'm getting scholarships doing these activities, and I'm not having time to make up my test because I just need 30 minutes a day to myself to work on that and come in before school, even though I have meetings every day before school. So implementing flex time would be so good to all of us. Thank you.
I was just going to add, when we saw our video of all our students' accolades and all these different programs, and I know a lot of you students are in HOSA and DECA and robotics and all the things, you need that time to make up those exams so that we can continue to be the leaders in all of these other things, right? And then come back and be able to take those quizzes and those tests and those missed assignments. So thank you for bringing that. Thank you for mentioning that.
And I'd like to echo Gloria's comments. I mean, y'all are in all these different activities, and they're still making time to make these recommendations to us. And so thank y'all so much. It does matter, make a difference. We appreciate that, especially with the intentionality, the depth. You're not just throwing something out there. Y'all have worked through the continuous improvement to get there. And to Anna's point, I would love to know, like, as a board, is this something that administration gives us an update on? And I know we don't have all the answers tonight. Or is this a policy discussion we need to have as a board? Or where does this end up landing as we move forward with what happens with flex time? And then definitely a follow-up. I'd love to know what happens with the app. And kind of a loop back for our CISAC, because not everybody's graduating. And so y'all may be coming back next year. And so it'd be great if y'all could monitor, like, oh yeah, we didn't get all of it, but we had some of this, and oh, this didn't work out like we thought, or here's what we would like to see. So I'd love to have that monitoring so y'all can see when your plan gets enacted, what tweaks would you make now?
I think that's the beauty of this process. So they started on flex time last year. They are taking it up again this year, and then I think we're going to see it flowing into next year and into the future as well. The beauty of this is the organic way that this is coming up from student voice. And you know, we have defined autonomy at the campus level, and so we will likely never say from the district level, this is what you have to do, and this is how you have to do it. Rather, we're allowing the student voice at those campuses to drive that process. I know that Chloe has been advocating with Mr. Simpson. And I think that's a great process, a great learning curve. We don't always get what we ask for, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't stop advocating for it.
I just have a quick question for the panel. Do you all feel comfortable in speaking with us freely?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you feel like the people you spoke with at the other campuses also feel that way?
No. I'll say my principal, he's very adamant about not having flex time, and it was hard to talk to him originally and be like, I just trying to ask you questions, and so it's hard to talk to a lot of people that don't have the same opinions as you and don't want this to work. And so I think that was my biggest challenge this year on dealing with this.
For us, we all three go to Vista Ridge, and Vista Ridge has been a hard advocate for, or we call it Ranger time, but I guess flex time. And we've kind of had a process of like, we implemented it one year and many students were leaving without taking attendance, right? So then they would implement a stricter attendance policy, but then that fell out when the website was inconvenient. And so with that, they're able to kind of identify problems and make it better for each year. But I think kind of introducing that kind of approach to Leander would be really good, because obviously when we first implement something like this, there's going to be hiccups along the way. But I think overcoming those hiccups is really what's essential to having a successful kind of system of Ranger time and giving those students that free time to even like take a mental break if it's not even taking a retest. You know, like students need that, I need that, and I can advocate that everyone else here needs that as well.
I had a question. I know it says app, but would it be able to utilize like through the internet? Because I know some schools, middle school, I can only speak to middle school, there's like a no cell phone policy out. And so I'm trying to see how that would work. But then also for those students that don't have, you know, a cell phone, I think everyone does, but I'm just saying. I'm just curious, like how can they utilize that at school? Can they do it through their computer as well?
Yeah, so it would be web-based, so yeah, it'd be web-based, yeah. Yeah. So you could access it as a web page as well, so it doesn't, like, it would be, if it was on a app, it would be like a web-hosted app on that. It wouldn't be like a direct app, so it would be routing you to a website, essentially. Yeah.
So just really quickly, I did notice you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the ideal flex time. So I'm wondering about, I'm thinking larger system-wise about master schedule and how that works. And I can only imagine the administrators in the room are like, how is that going to work with only 3 days a week? And then we have A days and B days, and it's just a lot. So I wonder, do you feel like it needs to be every day? Is that the wish for every day, and you would settle for 3 days a week? Or just kind of, can you talk about the ideal flex time and how you came up with the 3 days?
So when we did our research, we focused on Vista Ridge and Cedar Park because they had so far the best systems we've heard. Like, it worked well for them. And we found that between Vista does it Tuesdays, right?
So here's the thing, we have it all days of the week, so we have 30 minutes in our schedule, all days of the week, but we can portal or we can go to other classes only on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Yeah, so that's kind of how we had it to organize so that students don't just leave or kind of have that structure built in.
And then I heard from Cedar Park, they have it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they were able to include some sort of attendance. I don't know exactly how they did it, but they did it. And those were the best days for them and the best days for Vista also. So we kind of combined the two good working schools and found like the ideal system.
Right.
I love that you were able to put those two together and figure out the ideal situation, and great job keeping to advocate for yourself. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have one more thing I would say. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you putting all the effort in. And in fact, there was something else that I told Dr. Gearing about a week or two ago, that it would be great to get updates from the students. In fact, and sometimes I think there are too many happy people at our meetings, and that might sound crazy, and I said that to Dr. Gearing, that might sound crazy, but would you be interested in something like that where you could come here and have a back and forth with how things are going through the year?
I think that'd be great, yeah. Be able to like just kind of give feedback to each other and kind of, you can talk about our progress and give us feedback on what you think that maybe we should implement, and we can bring up issues that we've found throughout the year. So it isn't like a one-off thing where when the year comes around, we have to kind of lay everything out. We can kind of a back and forth conversation instead of just a presentation per se.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was hoping for.
So during the school year, we did receive an invitation from Vandergrift High School to join their student council meetings. And I've attended a good number of those. And those are extremely powerful to hear directly from the students. The very last invitation we got, it was Francesca, Trish, and I that attended.
All right, I think we're going to move to the next group. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zoe Seward.
And I'm Kate Jones.
Our opportunity revolves around the access to resources, specifically from counselors to students, parents, and just administration in just general. So originally, our committee was about GPA and rank, but as we learned more about it, we found that the true problem was within the access to information was being prohibited. So the poor communication between admin, teachers, and students, primarily concerning class schedules and counselor availability, with emailing and other forms of contact between students, teachers, and counselors. So what we decided to change it to was that we were going to change our focus to improving communication between counselors, teachers, and students.
A plan of action that we would like to implement in the schools is improving or creating more information hubs for students, parents, teachers, everyone, and especially focusing on incoming ninth graders and helping them with the really difficult transition to high school, especially regarding the extended class selections and the pathways being offered. We would like to improve the clarity of course offerings to reflect the availability at each high school, as some high schools offer classes that others don't, and it can be a bit confusing in the mix of it all.
Some things that would be in this website is a more in-depth course catalog based on school, so that it's more specific, so the students aren't confused that one class is not in their school, but it's in a different school in the district. Another thing would be more information about ACC resources, meaning dual credit over the summer and during the school year, based on what classes you can take when you are through freshman through senior year. Another would be pathway changes and how to handle that. It's very difficult to get through one pathway to the next if you are midway, say in sophomore year. So I would just more information through that. And also trade school and international school. I know that it's a big college focused whenever you're in high school, but we want to make sure that people have all information so that they can make the best decision based on what their needs are. A couple ways that we would get this information out to students based on this website would be class meetings, such as if you have, I know at Rouse, we have a senior freshman meetings at the beginning of every year. This could be given to students then. Also on school reminds, such as just Remind on digital, counselor websites and district websites, so that parents, teachers, and anybody who needs it can get that information as quickly as possible. So this would also free up counselors' availability, just because if you can find the information on a website, then you don't need to contact your counselor, and that will give counselors enough time to be able to contact the people who need that help and need those resources for mental health and like course changes.
Good evening. I am Alexander Hertzler. I will be presenting bathrooms. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we created a process of findings, trying to find, of course, the common problems throughout our schools in the district. And a big problem we all know about that doesn't really get handled too much in meetings like these would be bathrooms. So our top problems that we found were drugs, vandalism, and maintenance. Many people that I've spoken to throughout Rouse and Vista Ridge, as I'm a sub-campus student to Vista Ridge, found that this was the reason why people were not going to use the restroom. And students who were reporting problems such as vandalism or drugs in the restrooms or things that are missing, they don't really feel heard because things weren't happening in a quick amount of time. Next slide. So the recommendations that we are looking towards are creating an ability to create a student work order as opposed to just a regular work order for students to go into use of the FlexTime app. This is where we would work together and they would be able to report a problem saying which school they're at, what the location of the restroom is, because they all have numbers, like the 1300 restroom or so. And then they're able to say specifically what the problem is. So whether that be there's something missing, like a stall door is missing, the locks aren't working, toilet paper isn't there, we need refilling, or just other items that could possibly be put into restrooms that we don't currently have right now, that we don't have the idea for. I myself have found difficult to try to focus through the school day without proper access to a restroom, where in some cases I'm walking around the school for upwards of 15 minutes trying to find that one open restroom or that one restroom that actually has a proper lock with it. Luckily, some of my classes have their own buildings, like my automotive building, we have our own restroom that, since it's such limited and who's able to access it, and make sure that restroom is always good. Same thing with our JRTC restroom at Vista Ridge. But I, of course, want to make this so it's more available to all other students because I know many people are struggling during the tests because they want to use the restroom, but they're trying to go through their tests as fast as possible, hoping the school day to end as quickly as possible so they're able to go home and use it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide any numbers on the vandalism throughout the year, as we were trying to get that, but we weren't able to get that in time for this board presentation. We know it is high, and we're, of course, trying to reduce this. And the way we were trying to originally get this done is on the board here. We created a bathroom maintenance form. The QR code would link to the website or would help direct you to the app. That way you're able to get there. Of course, it'd be written in which restroom you're in, so the student has an easy access of it and try not to figure out where they are. So we'd also like to work with each school's AV program, audiovisual program. They create the announcements, all that fun stuff. We know every school has that, and we don't want something that just comes down from the district level. Many students get actually every student gets the district survey asking for them to fill it out. I can guarantee you 95% of them do not fill that out. I try to fill it out as best as I can, though, to try to help out the district, but we want something that can relate to each school's students. So instead of seeing just a video from the district or seeing a video from Rouse, but you're at Leander, we want something special from each school. That way the students say, I know who this is, and they're able to get something done, respectively done to their school. Whether this be just a quick informational video over the announcements, or just friendly reminders. So this bathroom maintenance form would hopefully be posted up inside the restrooms, outside the restrooms, really just anywhere in the school, because we don't want this just to be a bathroom maintenance work order form, but we also want this to be a reporting form for those drugs and vandalism. We have anonymous reports, which I know many students do not believe in that as well. Usually when they report it, they don't see anything getting done, and we want to make sure the students are feeling heard. So originally, we just wanted this to be that work order, but we also realizing that this was a problem and we want to get that handled as well. So on top of having the maintenance part, if they would like to fill that out, they also have a section separate that would go towards vandalism and other things. So we understand that the custodians in some schools, there's not enough. They're being stretched thin. It's a lot of work throughout one day. So we're trying to get numbers of how busy they are throughout the school day to see if we can actually get this implemented for the maintenance forms, who we can find out who this information can be sent to. So we just not sending it to somebody and nothing's happening. So once we find that out, we're going to make sure we can get like a pilot school to start with. Unfortunately, we were not able to obtain one this year, but we are going to definitely get that started for next year, hopefully working over summer so we can just jump right into this for this next school year. So my goal for next year for restrooms is to have this work order implemented, have the students trust in the system, and we can get this pushed out to the rest of the district. One more thing I'd like to mention about the work order form that would be, the maintenance form, sorry, that would be posted around the school is we're looking to try to get this covered in like that safety glass, like how you usually see on a fire escape plans where we have to go if the fire alarm goes off. That way students aren't able to just rip this down, because a lot of posters I'm noticing at Rouse and Vista have just been ripped down and you can just see the remnants of it, but you don't know what's on there. So, yes. Oh, that was it. So thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
I just want to thank you. I think all of us parents in the district have heard this from our students for years now. I love that it's not just the report, because that's important, but also trying to create the promotional, trying to change the culture of it, right? Like, stop doing this and the impacts that it causes to our own students and to the school. So I love that you thought through all of those pieces. That's really impressive, so thank you.
So when you started looking into this, like what time of the school year did you start looking into this bathroom problem?
So this problem, when we first began the RSSAC meetings, we came together to find the main problems, so we were able to split up into groups. I was noticing that the restrooms, even though it was set as a big problem, not many people were actually walking over to that group to work on it, and I knew this was a big problem. It's been previous problems for the last 2 years. I've been in high school as well, so I wanted to go in there at the beginning of the year to try to help it progress by the end of the year.
So was this October, September?
About October, I believe.
Okay, and this is the part I was telling Dr. Gearin, why people might think I'm crazy, but I've been talking to people around. I want to be able to have at some point where, yes, we don't have everybody happy at the meetings. If someone has a real issue, you don't have to wait. It is appalling to me that you guys have had to wait all year to officially, in front of everyone, tell us there's a bathroom problem. Well, we haven't been invited to smaller groups, and I don't know if they've been talked about at those groups, but for here, most everyone has a little bit more chance and notification. And so I would love to have some sort of back and forth that the students can tell us, good or bad, how are we doing? You know, sometimes you got to have those conversations in a family. And if we are an LISD family, we simply just have to have them.
Well, y'all have been meeting with Dr. Gearing, because this is the superintendent's committee. And so, just so everyone knows, and I'm sure most people in here do, but the superintendent manages the district, and we are the board of trustees, and he manages the district within the framework and the policies that the board creates. And so, I don't know, maybe you could talk a little bit about how your group has been meeting and what that communication has been with, I know y'all been meeting with Sarah Martinez and with Dr. Gearing, and if y'all can talk a little bit, because I know this is the first time you're talking to us, but this isn't the first time that you've talked to LISD people, right?
Can I answer his question first?
Sure.
And I'll come to you. Okay. So I want to go back to where I was talking about trying to find that pilot school. I attempted to work with that with the Rouse principal, but he did not want to go through with it because it was his first year at that school and didn't want to try to change things up when there's other schools that have more senior principals where he thought that would be a better place to start. And for your question, sorry, can you repeat that again? I just lost it.
Talking, and this is for any of y'all too, kind of, and anyone else that wants to join in, more about the process of the superintendent advisory committee, kind of when y'all engage, how y'all communicate, what those meetings look like, how that works with your school schedule. I know that's a lot. So if y'all want to take turns, or Dr. Gearing or Sarah Martinez, whoever, but I'd love to hear from students.
Okay, so we go into our, we get told about a date prior towards, if a student needs transportation by the bus, they're able to fill that out on an email. And then we give it a time. I personally try to arrive early, that way I'm always there early, able to help out when needed. As well as once we start the meetings, we usually have a quick agenda set, what we're going to be doing. We'll break off into our teams. And we'll try to work on all of our problems individually from there, if you want to.
Hello. So I am part of the leadership team of the SSAC. And probably in like September, we all had a meeting and we wanted to set up how this year was going to run. And we decided that the best way is to give the field to everybody else. And what we did is we had a leadership member in each one of the committees so that we can make sure everyone gets stuff done and everybody's on time and making sure that it's on topic. So we plan ahead. We usually have 2 officer meetings before the actual Big SSAC meeting. So either through Zoom or just meeting at like a coffee shop somewhere. So we always try to make sure that we're planning ahead. He said most of like how the meetings run, where we show up pretty early and then we just get right into work, or we bond as like a team and make sure that everyone's ideas are being heard and understood by every member.
Thank you. I love that student leadership part. That's really cool that there was that opportunity.
So one more thing with that is, while people who usually show up, that's great, but we had some people, especially from Rouse, that were selected for this program but weren't consistently showing up. Now I've spoken to our principal about that. We're currently working towards, for next year, interviewing these people beforehand to make sure they can actually show up. That way we have more minds working towards our main goals for next year as well. And this year, communication during meetings has been excellent, although I've noticed in some groups, especially mine, outside of meetings, not many people are trying to communicate over text messages and such. So that's partially made it difficult, but we were still able to get our objectives for the year completed but through the main meetings.
So I wanted to add your question about, Gloria did make a comment about how with our children in the schools, being in the schools, we are personally aware of these issues that have been going on for a long time. It was really amplified by some TikTok challenges a few years ago. And every time it seems like we're getting this under control, another TikTok challenge starts. And we do talk to admin. We do know some of the plans that they have in place that they're piloting at some schools to see how they could be rolled out if they're effective. So this is stuff we've all known about because we have kids in the schools.
Thank you. I want to move on to the next group so we have enough time. So
Wait, I have one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Both
I
of
have
them.
a question.
Okay, I'm trying to move us along.
It's for my access people.
Yes, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I love everyone on this board knows access to me is like dear to my heart because when you give access to students, you create so much endless opportunity. So I love that y'all focused on this because as a parent, I have 4 kids in the district, right? That 8th grade, 9th grade transition is huge and you don't realize it until your kid graduates high school, not college yet, oh my gosh. But what I love though is that y'all you saw barriers in there by your own experiences and you're highlighting them. And I know one thing that this board has we've talked about a lot is the course catalog and how it needs to be specified to each campus because I was going through this with my own daughter this year and she found a course she wanted to do, but it's not available. And so, but I love that you guys highlighted it. And I think this is huge because this impacts the entire students in LISD because that transition piece, whether it's from pre-K to kinder, from 5th to 6th, to 8th to 9th, that's huge. And so I just wanted to say thank you because I think what you two, your group, I love bathrooms, give me in a second. But what you two are doing and creating is you opened up a great can of worms because this is going to, one, help me as a trustee find those barriers, but most importantly, provide more access to our students. So thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see what y'all come up with, but continue advocating. Bathroom people, thank you so much as a parent.
I have one last question for the bathroom folks. After you've been having these meetings, what actions have you seen?
Actions by our group or outside of our group?
By the district, just, what actions have you seen?
So I know some members of our group was trying to reach out, get some numbers from the head janitorial people, and I don't believe we got a response from them. And it's not always just the district people as well, it's some people in the schools. Like we had a plan to also get some numbers of how people feel about the restrooms in school by quick form. But like how we do that was reach out to the English teachers so they can get to their students and just ask them to quickly fill something out. But none of the English teachers were wanting to respond or come back to us about that. So that kind of made it a little bit difficult to get numbers back.
And that goes back to my other idea of having basically unhappy people here. Because make it public. Let those people who are trashing the bathrooms know that we are going to be talking about you at the meetings, and we're not going to wait till the end of the year.
It's our students that are trashing the bathrooms.
Everybody knows.
It's not the community members that are going in there. It's
Thank you for correcting me. It's the students.
Yes.
But they are part of the community. We are part of it. So let's work together for a better forum. Because I don't like the 90 seconds. I don't.
I understand that you guys have been working towards getting this fixed. I know we've all known about it, but this whole forum was the idea to help situate this problem,
Yes.
just to quickly get those maintenance forms done. And thank you guys for your time.
Thank you very much.
The maintenance form is brilliant
Thanks for your
too.
time.
I love it. I love the maintenance form and the culture change. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, Bruce. We're going to move to the next group. Thank you. All right, we're going to move to our next group, our student-led empowerment.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how loud this is going to be. Hello, good evening, everyone. Best for last, am I right? No, just kidding. Hi, I'm Anya Bandari. I'm a junior at Vandergrift High School.
And my name is Remy Joby. I'm a senior at Glenn High School.
So this year we were both a part of the student-led empowerment group. So what we do, just a brief overview of student-led empowerment, we identify a key issue within the student body. This year we focus specifically on connectivity, or rather lack thereof, especially inter-district connectivity. We're a huge district, it's hard to keep everyone connected, and Remy's gonna talk a little bit more about how we evaluated this.
So first we had to find the problem, and we found that it was very difficult to connect with other schools to accomplish a common goal. There was a disconnection because lots of schools were far away. We don't really have chances to meet with them. And to do that, we interviewed the head of clubs and organizations from each high school. You can see we interviewed all the high schools in the district, and we got a lot of responses from a lot of the club organizations and leaders. And what we found from that was a lot of them were very disconnected, and we believe that was due to COVID and, once again, the large school district. And the student leaders were more disconnected than the club sponsors, from what I saw, because the teachers have meetings, but the students do not. So what we were trying to do was, what can we do to get students to have those meetings? Because I know dance teams, they're able to connect because they have IDA camp, they have dance competitions, they go to each other's spring shows. I know theater does the UIL, they go to each other's UIL, but other clubs like Black Student Union, they don't really have something like that. They have Martin Luther King Jr., the parade, that's where we meet up, but other than that, we don't really have a time or event where we can meet with each other.
Okay, so in order to solve this problem, we have decided to roll out a bit of an action plan. So we are thinking of having a spreadsheet which has all of the club's informations for each of the clubs by schools. So for example, we have the club information for, say, student councils at each school. Every school in the district has a student council. Just having the advisory head on there, having who's the president of the organization, and just having an email to contact them so that we're able to keep in contact with each other and say that one of the schools wants to start, say, a chess club. Maybe they can reach out to the chess club at Vandergrift High School to see how can we start that up. And it kind of helps appeal to all these different niches, and it creates a creative outlet for everyone to be a part of. So here's a bit of our timeline of what it would look like. So this year in August, we're going to begin contacting schools and kind of figuring out how we can keep this on record. Different schools in the district do different things to keep track of who's in charge of the clubs, what's a verified organization, what's a verified club. So we're going to be reaching out to those people and identifying who our point people will be there. By December, we will have finalized and finished the spreadsheet and all the information on it. Then from about January to February, we're going to be monitoring progress throughout the spreadsheet, seeing how helpful it is, taking in feedback forms, and facilitating events. Specifically, I would like to name the Vandergrift Student Council, as we will be attempting to find a student council event that we can do, and having everyone in the district create an event for that so we can be more connected through that. And then in May, we're going to take our final feedback and work to improve. So this is going to be a year-long effort to provide the most accurate observations for what we're doing. And our closing summary on this is we would like to create a space for the spreadsheet on the Leander ISD website so that it's easily accessible to all students. As well as that, we would like to notify parents, students, and staff of its existence, whether this be through a remind, email, a general website announcement, maybe at one of these board meetings to try to figure out how we can get the word out about this. And then, of course, we would like to monitor progress through the next year's Superintendent Advisory Committee team. I personally will be on the team, so this is something I will take on as well, and keep creating individual school input as well, as we have everyone from the district on here. So yeah. Thank you so much, y'all.
I think this is brilliant. I know my son's trying to start a club, and he recently was just saying, I looked online and I saw that there's one of these at this high school and this high school. And he was like, how do I get in touch with them? So this is really, I mean, it seems like, yeah, why aren't we doing this, right? It's such an opportunity for like our Black Student Association, to meet all their, all the other campuses, all the other clubs. There's just so much opportunity for all these different students to connect. And like you said, it's a spreadsheet, right? It shouldn't be that hard, right? I love that. I love when it's an easy one. It feels like it's an idea that's right there and helps with that connectivity. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the main ideas behind this too was like every year Vandegrift has like a Relay for Life. So that's like a cancer fundraiser, super big event. And we were trying to figure out how we could get in contact with people. And it was so hard to just invite people from our district or like from our schools and getting in touch with everyone. So we just thought it would be a great idea to have everything in one place.
And once again with PALS, we have a PALS picnic every year in the beginning of the school year, but then again, that's not us organizing it, it's the club sponsors organizing it. And we want to have students have a chance to reach out without having a teacher organize it all the time, because again, it's the things we want to do. It's our passion, so we want to be the ones in charge of it.
I'm so glad that y'all brought this up. The disconnect is something that I feel like doesn't get mentioned a lot. And I'm somebody that, I have a child at Leander High School and I had siblings at Vandegrift High School. And some of my family did not realize that they were in the same school district. It's huge. And I love that y'all are looking for different ways to connect. And I want to ask, is part of what you're needing more help, do you feel like facilities is an issue? Like making sure that y'all have open space at different points in the district so that one day you can have your meetings up at Glen and one day you can have them at Cedar Park? Does access to facilities play into the disconnect that you're finding?
I feel like also with the Access to Resources Committee, that helps with this, because I feel like students do want to do this, they just don't know where to start. So once they have that access to resources, they'll know where to start, and that's when they'll start communicating with each other to facilitate these meetings and having these conversations with each other.
So would opening up how you all are able to communicate with administration help with, I guess, with all of your committees? Because I know when I was in high school, we did not want to talk to administration. We didn't really want to be that involved, so it wasn't an issue that the schools were addressing, but it sounds like a huge problem that's common through every aspect, of your presentation here, is that a lot of students just don't know who to talk to and if it's okay for them to be going through those channels on their own as opposed to going through your teacher or a sponsor or a coach.
Yeah, so actually, funny you bring that up. Until I was on this committee, I go to Vandegrift again, and we have this, we have a principal advisory committee, and we have a advisory committee, I think it was brought up, the roundtable committee, where we invited a few board members, and that's run by our student council. And having that open communication and being like, hey, you get to sit down, like our principal comes and he sits down and he sits there during our flex time, again, very important part of our day, and he sits down with us and he listens to our issues, he talks through them, he answers our questions, and we have members of the board coming down, and that really just kind of makes it more of a comfortable space. And I definitely think that that's amazing and that we should have that, we should kind of bridge the gap between administration and students, definitely.
And also with the students that are scared to talk to administration, I think that's where teamwork comes in, because there's always going to be a leader that wants to speak up, but the person in the background that has the ideas and the plan who's scared, so the person who's a speaker can speak to them, speak for that person, and so it's like a balanced team, checks and balances,
I love that y'all are able to do that at your campus level, which is the appropriate place to have those conversations with your administration, because that's your culture, that's your community, that's your space. And so what happens at Vista Ridge, and they're able to talk to Dr. Morgan now, used to be, Mr. Johnson, but you're able to have those conversations with the campus that can make the change. I love getting your updates here, and I love hearing them, and I would love to come out and do those roundtables that I know Sade and some other members have participated in. But giving us the overview, right, that upper level kind of what you guys are working on and what you've done in this group, is wonderful. And this is the appropriate time for you to share those ideas with us and what's been going on and report back. But those conversations at the campus level is where you're gonna see the change. So I really appreciate you guys putting yourselves out there. I know it's not easy, especially talking to an adult, and especially when you're not happy about something. So hearing you guys be able to have those conversations with the campus, with those leaders at that level that can make those changes is wonderful. I know you're not always gonna get the response that you want, and I'm hopeful that if you keep having those conversations, that you will get the response that you want for the bathrooms, for the maintenance request. I think that's a fabulous idea. I think that it has been a problem for a long time. And so I do love the idea of the video. I love, Vista Ridge telling other rangers not to do stupid stuff in the bathroom. I mean, that's what, don't do stupid stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for the high level report that you gave us tonight for all of you. It gives us a really good insight on what you've been spending your time doing with Dr. Gearing and Dr. Martinez. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Dr. Gearing, for this opportunity. All of us are extremely grateful. Thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Hold on. He's got it. Before we exit, I do want to give an opportunity for Michelangelo and Eden. You did a wonderful presentation on life skill awareness, and I do want to mention that. Come on up. You can come on up. We talked a lot about that when we are looking through policies and talking about our vision for LISD. That's something that's come up over and over. When we revamped our whole vision statement, there was a lot of how can we embed more of that life skill. So hearing you bring this to our attention tells us that there's still work that we can do, and y'all gave us some really tangible, applicable ways of like, hey, these are the things that we want to learn more of, and this is how we think it can be embedded into the day-to-day. So thank you for that. Thank you.
I think for the first group, we had said that we were going to...
They had to leave. They were both Vandergrift folks that had to be like at graduation at like they need to be there like 4 or 5, right? Like that first bus group, yeah. So they said bye and left.
I have a question for Dr. Martinez too when we get done.
I just had a quick clarification for our presentation. So for the ideal flex time, so the ideal flex time would be 5 days that you could portal. So I know that we said that ideally it'd be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's due to kind of the attendance concerns and kind of the issues we have right now due to attendance. So I kind of wanted to make sure that was cleared up to make sure ideally you could go 5 days a week, you could portal where you needed to kind of make up tests or do whatever you needed to kind of address. But due to the attendance issue, that's why it had to be like 3 days or due to our issues we had. Also for the CSAT Council, another thing for how it runs is that I really appreciate is that like Ms. Martinez and Mr. Gearing kind of walk around the room and kind of talk to us about all of the issues and kind of give kind of input while we're working. So obviously it is still student led, but I really appreciate how they kind of go around and make sure that everyone's voice is being heard. It kind of makes it feel like it really is a superintendent advisory committee instead of just like students working together and then presenting something. It's more like we're collaborating with the actual higher administration. So I just wanted to add those two.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
I have a quick question for the students.
After this comment, we're going to take a photo with all of y'all. I see Daniel and Christina saying we got to take a photo. Okay, so last question.
Yes, I have a question for the life skills. I had the opportunity last year to attend an Adulting 101 class at LHS that the assistant principals did, and it was amazing. They were answering questions on taxes and changing tires and all of this kind of stuff. Is that the kind of integration of these lessons that y'all are looking for, or do you want something even more? Do you think something more regular would be helpful?
So the end goal that we genuinely want is to have these classes become something more permanent than a single course, but obviously we can't have that as our starting goal because we have little foundation right now, so the general plan is to build and build until we get to that final goal of having a class. And I would love to see more opportunities to have those smaller courses, because we don't, again, have the chance to talk with different schools or even learn about the fact that other schools have these different opportunities where you can learn simple life skills and other aspects that you wouldn't really get to learn in a usual classroom setting. And we've talked to Ms. Gager about this. She actually taught us a lot about how we used to have classes that were super insightful and were permanent based, such as what used to be our AVID, but have now over time slowly diluted due to access to specific teachers who are qualified for those courses.
Thank you. Thank you for all of our students that participated and committed to this. Let's give them a round of applause. And we're going to take, and if y'all can come on up, we're going to take a photo with y'all. All right, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, but I can't do it.
Dr. Martinez? Sarah? Can somebody catch her? Can you bring her back?
Okay, then let's go ahead and move to the consent agenda. We will now move to the consent agenda items. Board members?
I would like to pull.
Do you have any motions related to consent agenda items?
I'd like to pull out C, please.
Okay, then what we can do, 5C, consider adoption of policy GKB local.
Okay, just real quick, after reading it fairly thoroughly, I think there's parts of it that might contradict itself in some way. It talks about, in a certain part, commercial advertising, and it talks about what society deems, but then at the end, or a part of it, it says the school district maintains the final authority. And part of that contradiction, I feel like some society could be interpreted differently, and that's why I feel like it might be a little contradictory.
Paul, do you know what part was the change from the previous policy? Did you see the red line document?
I did.
So I guess, being on the policy committee chair, we are going through all of policy. If you have a question about something else in policy, you can certainly send that to the policy committee. We will gladly take that up and look at it. But for tonight, the item that you'll see, the change that's been recommended is on page 4, and it's the underline. So if you have any questions there, happy to discuss those. If you have future suggestions you want the policy committee to look at, just send us an email through Cindy and we'll take it up.
Okay, thank you.
I just want
I'm sorry, go ahead. Just to clarify, what Paul read was not a policy change being recommended for approval.
That is correct. The only thing that's being made recommended as changes on page 4 of 5 under sponsorships and donations.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that for everyone.
And that's true. I just thought, since we're actually talking about the whole policy, upon reviewing it, I thought even though that part isn't going to be changed, that I think it does contradict itself.
No, go ahead, Trish, you can, explain how that works with the policy.
Yeah, policy committee is going through all of the policies and looking at it. And so as trustees, if you see changes, you don't have to wait for us to bring something up before the board meeting to ask a question. If you have a question, it comes. We have hundreds of so many policies.
Thank you, Madam President. And we're going to fly fast. This is graduation season, and we have already experienced some of our graduates. This is New Hope High School at Vista Ridge High School's auditorium. Had a great evening of graduation there. This season is truly about our empowered staff and the work that they've done throughout these students' lives that they've been with us, and the incredible work that they're doing, about our empowered learners who are now launching into their next adventure. We had Project Search at Ascension Seton. We have a great partnership with them. We graduated 6 students out of that program who will likely go into full-time work with Seton. So we're very proud of those students and very thankful for the partnership that we have. And our empowered staff over there doing incredible work to help these students be successful and launch. We had our Self-18 Plus graduation, incredible evening, celebrating our students that are going on to their next adventure in life too. New Hope High School, I just had to point out this young man. 2 things about this picture. Number one, I love their logo, and this version of the logo was hand painted by one of their graduates who walked the stage that night, an incredible young man who's going on to great things. But one comment I wanted to share that this young man made, he said, "It is amazing to me that I'm walking the New Hope graduation stage for the 2nd time tonight, because his mother had walked as a New Hope graduate before, and so just an incredible experience that night." We're also having our senior walks at schools throughout the district, and it's wonderful for our elementary students especially to see our seniors in their graduation gowns and garb as they go back to the elementary schools that were so meaningful to them in their pathway to graduation. And so we're seeing that throughout the district. So we still have 2 days of graduation coming up, tomorrow and Saturday at the HEB Center, as we celebrate the rest of the class of 2024. We'll graduate a little over 3,500 students through the 2 that we've had already, and then as we go through the next 2 days. I want to point out that we did have a full page in Community Impact, celebrating the incredible work that our graduates have done. So thank you to Christina and her staff for putting this together. It really points out the power of public school and the fact that the future of our great state and the future of our nation is sitting in our public schools right now. And this particular group is about to enter into their next adventure where they will impact and lead our state and our nation. And I want to point out that we are all learners, from Board of Trustees all the way down. And so we celebrate every graduation. So congratulations, Francesca, on a quick mention of safe and innovative learning environments. We were able to host the Bond Oversight Committee, you're about to hear from them in a little bit, at Heisel Elementary, which is elementary school number 30 in the district. The reason this is important is because we want to remind you that elementary school 30 was built out of bond savings. And that is a process that is approved by the Bond Oversight Committee. And so it was great to host the folks who've done a lot of work towards making sure that we had the funds to build this elementary school on site and touring that building. I want to point out too that shade structure is up, and that is something that is new in the district, so now a standard for the district, so our PTAs do not have to work hard on these as we go. Those will be funded through construction funds. And we also have money in those bond funds available, so as existing shade structures wear out, we have replacement money in order to do that. So very exciting work happening. Also from SCR, a big shout out as we put out the cards in the district to demonstrate the incredible work that is happening throughout the district, made possible by our community, approving bonds in May of 2023. That allows us to build these safe and innovative learning environments for each and every one of our learners, that allows them to have the student experiences that are necessary for them to then graduate out of our system and go into the world to make those huge changes. I want to just refer back to our Leander High School swim team. We were able to work with the Leander High School swim team members and their parents, as well as the Blockhouse Creek Mud Board. And we want to say a sincere thank you to the Mud Board for working with us. They did approve at their Wednesday night board meeting some changes that give us the ability to continue to use Blockhouse Creek Pool, the Apache Pool, for our Leander High School swimmers to continue to swim there. I also want to say a sincere thank you to Nitro, who are extending some additional lanes for our existing teams, the 3 teams who are swimming there already. Nitro has been a fantastic partner with Leander ISD for many years, and we will hopefully continue to work well with them as we go into 24-25 for the swim program. So we're just very grateful to be able to work that through. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. All good updates. Thank you. We're going to have another order change. Since we have a guest presenter this evening, we're going to move over to item 7C1, which is consider approval of Bond Oversight Committee recommendations. And so our guest, John Lux, please come on up with Dr. Grissom.
All right, good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Gearing. I am obviously not Jimmy Disler. He is not able to be with us tonight, but did ask me to step in to introduce Mr. John Lux, who is the chairperson of our Bond Oversight Committee, and wanting to bring you recommendations from the committee. And I'll turn it over to John.
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Gearing. Good to see you again, Dr. Gearing. Thank you again for the great tour out of the elementary. It's such a beautiful, beautiful campus, just to be able to see that. So thank you. As mentioned, we've got two proposals that we're going to bring forward to the board this evening. The first one is the three high schools, or four high schools? Three high schools that are going under the renovations, the enhancements. So obviously they're tearing down all the ceiling tiles, and so they're exposing everything. So in that package was not included some things that you would normally do, or include those. It's going to be something that they're going to look at when they do these enhancement packages later on. But currently the way the three packages came across, there was some wiring and so forth. I'll get into more details, but I just want to give you a high level overview. Is now with all the ceiling tiles down, it's a great opportunity to start putting new wiring system, new bell systems, et cetera, in there. So that's why we're bringing it to you, because it's an opportunity, but it wasn't part of the package. So we want to move some money, reallocate some money to be able to put that. It's going to be a huge cost savings doing it now, vice 3-4 years down the road, re-tearing out the tiles, putting everything back in. So the money that we're looking at reallocating is from the savings that we had with the interactive flat panel and from the 2021 bonds. So you can see on the bottom line there, the estimated savings from that bond project is the $8,428,000. So that's what, just from that, that's to say we're not going to do that whole amount, but that's what is going to projected to be saved from the flat panels. So it is four. It is four. Yeah, so the four schools. So you got Cedar Park High School, Vista Ridge, Running Brushy, and Baghdad Elementary. So you can see each one of those. It's the CAT cables, and portable and so forth. And you can see each one of those costs. It's around $2 million for Cedar Park, and then Vista Ridge, and then over on the right bottom corner is a total estimate of the $4,831,000. So, any questions on?
So my question is, because it was a technology bond, then it's only going to be moved to technology-related projects. Is that correct? Was the flat panels, was that technology?
So you're talking about the funds that were allocated for this for later?
No, I'm talking about the savings for the $8 million in savings. Yes, that. Is that a technology bond related projects that can only be used in technology?
Correct.
Okay.
Unless we bring it to the board to for project savings. Then there's a project savings category that we can pull money that we reallocate from. So currently this isn't in the project savings, but that's where we're going to ask us to move that from this bond to the project savings, and then the project savings it'll go over to the enhancements.
So just to clarify, it does not have to be used for a technology project. In this case, it's coming out of a technology project and getting used for a technology project, but it doesn't have to. What they're doing is moving it out of the technology project into bond savings. Once it's in there, then they can make a recommendation for us to do whatever they need to with it.
Just so I'm clear, we need to do these separately, correct? So
yes,
these
please.
motions?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have two separate motions.
Are you done, John?
I
mean, with that part.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
No.
I just want to make sure.
I have one other question.
I didn't want to jump to right into the recommendation without allowing for
Before you
questions.
make your motion, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, boy.
So you lost your train of thought.
No. It's not for you, John, but I think it's for the admin. So maybe, Sarah, you might have an idea. I was informed recently about, I don't know if this is correct or what the thinking is behind this, that
apparently early childhood is taking away projectors or flat panels from the classrooms and other forms of technology. Is that correct? Is that part of this?
So as part of the charrette conversation around Early Childhood Center, the early childhood teachers have indicated that they do not want flat panels in those early childhood classrooms. That may become true at Early Childhood Center, that may or may not be true in other facilities in the district. We have to take into consideration that those classrooms will not always necessarily be early childhood classrooms because those do move. So where we have communities now, we may have 10 early childhood classrooms, but some of those may transfer into, say, K1 or 2 classrooms, in which case we'll need those panels at some point. The good thing about the new panels is that they're not wall-mounted, they're on carts, and so it's much easier for us to have them in the classroom or not have them in the classroom because they don't have to come on and off the wall. So we do have more flexibility as we go forward for how we do that. But yes, that is true. The early childhood teachers have recommended those panels in their classrooms.
All right, thank you.
So the bond committee's recommendation, it was unanimously voted on with the committee and brought to bring forward for the board, is recommended the board move $4,831,000 of the 2023 interactive panel bond project to the 2023 bond project savings fund, and then reallocate that $4,831,000 to the Cedar Park High School, Vista Ridge High School, Running Brushy Middle School, and Baghdad Elementary School modernization projects to install the digital paging, Bell software systems, and CAT data cables. And there's also, with going to this digital paging system, where now it's pretty much manual. It's like, they have to have the original contractors come in to do, if you want to do a bell schedule or change to the system. And they've tried to teach other teachers or somebody else how to do it, and then the person's leave, and then they got to hire the contractor back in. So now you can imagine it being digital. They'll just have a tablet. They'll be able to change the schedule, and you could do it on the fly, whereas before it was a lengthy process. So one of the other benefits.
Now, just making sure. Okay. I move that the board approve the Bond Oversight Committee's recommendation to move $4,831,000 of 2023 interactive panel bond project to the 2023 bond project savings fund, then reallocate $4,831,000 to Cedar Park High School, Vista Ridge High School, Running Brushy Middle School, and Baghdad Elementary School modernization projects fund to install digital paging, Bell software systems, and Cat6 data cable.
I second.
Motion made by Christine, second by Francesca. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor? 7 in favor. Motion passes.
Okay, on to our second item. And this is for transportation I'll get to it. So again, this is going from the project savings from the new camera systems. The savings that we did do 187 of the buses, but we were able to, through purchasing and so forth, we're able to come up with a savings of $129,557. So transportation, I think the comment was made that I think they have one vehicle that's been here longer than Jimmy Disler. So just to say that some of the age of these vehicles that we're replacing. So there was a comment about maybe giving it to Jimmy on his retirement. Yeah. So this is where the 3 services vehicles will be: at North Transportation, Central, and then the vehicle maintenance supervisor. So the committee recommended unanimously, again, the board reallocate $129,557 from the 2023 bus camera project savings to the 2023 bond project savings fund, and to use $144,000 of the 2017 broad project savings to purchase 3 transportation service vehicles. And again, it's not like a $1 for $1. Usually we see moving over, but the 129 doesn't cover the 3 vehicles, so we're going to use that additional $20,000 from savings to get to the 144 for the 3 vehicles. That's it.
I move that the board approve the Bond Oversight Committee's recommendation to reallocate $129,557 from the 2023 bus camera project savings to the 2023 bond project savings fund and use $144,000 of 2017 bond project savings to purchase 3 transportation service vehicles.
I second.
Christine makes motion, Francesca seconds. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor? 7 in favor. Motion passes. I just want to thank you, John Lux.
Oh, certainly.
You have
Thank you.
served so hard on our bond oversight and led this committee, and you're always here to present the recommendations, and just really want to appreciate our district volunteers that give so much of their time to support the school district like
Thank
this.
you.
So thank you. We're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. It's 8:21. At 8:31, we will come back. All right, we are back and we're going to move over to item 7C2, which are discussion action items. Discussion of the 2023-24 budget projections. Dr. Pete, happy to see you.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Gehring. Great to be with you this evening. Tonight we briefly go over the projections for the 23-24 or forecast as we wrap up the end of the school year. Currently, our projections show us with expenditures exceeding revenues of about 8.2 million. Now, just recall that 4.2 million of that is the 2 million transfer out for the empowerment fund, and then the $2.3 million for the science kits that was not not available in the TEMA funding. And so we are currently looking at a $4 million actual deficit. The big was $1.5 million last month. So kind of the big change outside of the two transfer outs is our attendance has kind of continued to get lower as the school year has gone on. And so last month we had the attendance enrollment adjustment, and this one was the attendance adjustment. We're running about 93.5 right now. And so we do plan on coming later in June with a waiver for the eclipse day. But that will change that a little bit.
That's not bueno. Not good, but okay, thank you.
Yeah, but if there are any other questions on that report, okay.
Can we keep the death by 1,000 cuts when we're doing our budget discussion? Can we have that? Because I'm like, oh wait, how does this play into the SHARs? How many funding cuts have happened? So if we could keep that sheet just nearby when we're doing budget, that would help.
I think to have that slide up while we're giving that budget projections, I think that's great, just so reminding our community how the state of Texas is constantly cutting back on public education and this effort to really defund public schools. I'd love to have that up there.
Yeah, we can put that on the slide that's up there now.
Thank you. All right, then we'll move over to item 7C3. Consider approval of budget amendments.
This evening we have a couple budget amendments. Real briefly, in general fund, we're just moving $25,000 in revenue and expense, no impact on the bottom line. We did approve the empowerment transfer out last month, so this month we're just coming to you with the budget amendment to put that in the budget on the transfer out column, just so the budget is reflective of the action from the last board meeting. We are also doing child nutrition. We are doing a budget amendment increasing the expenditures by $920,000, which is again as part of the fund balance spend down. And that will increase the deficit in that fund for the current year to a little over 2.1 million, which again is planned and part of an approved plan with the Texas Department of Agriculture.
This is for this meeting, right? I move that the Board of Trustees approve the budget transfer and amendments to the 2023-2024 budget as presented.
I second.
Trish makes motion and Francesca seconds. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor? 7 in favor. Motion passes. And we can move to the next item, 7C4, Business and Finance Monthly Reports.
Yes, this evening we have 5 reports for you. I'll walk through each one very briefly. The monthly bond status report, I do not have nothing out of the ordinary, just it's kept up to date. If there are any questions on that one, on that report, if not, I'll continue on. The next one is the monthly finance reports. Again, a standard, nothing out of the ordinary there. Now, the monthly investment report, just briefly highlight Fund 199 earned about 2.1 million, 1.9 million in the debt service fund, and then 360,000 and 520,000 in the 2 capital projects funds of our current bonds. But other than that, that is just keep you updated on the investments of the district. The monthly tax collection report, we were at 98.26%, which is slightly below where we were last year at 98.49% of our tax levy. And the last report is a quarterly cash flow report, again just showing the cash flows of the district nothing out of the ordinary to report there.
All right, any further questions? Okay, if there are no further questions, we will move over to the next agenda item, which is in our governance. It's 7B1. It's authority of trustee Paul Gauthier, his access to district facilities and employees. And Holly Wardell, the board counsel, is going to join us. I'm going to give a little context for this agenda item. The agenda item is authority of trustee Paul Gauthier, access to district facilities and employees. The LISD board operating procedures contain a process for addressing violations of the policy of operating procedures by trustees. And that process consists of first a one-on-one discussion or conversation with the offending trustee, and then a discussion as a board with the board as a whole. In April, it was brought to my attention that Trustee Gauthier went unannounced and without an appointment to the Transportation Department and insisted on attending the director's staff meeting without first notifying the superintendent as required in our board operating procedures. He infringed on this meeting that was already in progress and insisted on sitting on the floor despite the staff's numerous offers to bring him a chair. A couple of days later, Trustee Gauthier attended a high school dance performance, after which he accosted the dance team director in front of students and parents about school funding issues. When these matters were first brought to my attention, I sent Mr. Gauthier a memo reminding him of the proper procedure for visiting district facilities, which according to the LISD board operating procedures requires that trustees notify the superintendent in advance of visits to facilities and programs. In Trustee Gauthier's response, he asked that if this matter were to be discussed by the board as a whole, he wanted this to be discussed in open session, and that's why we are in open session. The correspondence that I sent at that time should have resolved this issue, but unfortunately it did not. On Friday, May 17th, Trustee Gauthier went again unannounced, without appointments, without scheduling through the superintendent's office, to the transportation department, to Vandergrift High School, to Cox Elementary, to Henry Middle School, to North Elementary, and to Larkspur Elementary campuses. Thus, this is why we have this agenda item. I'm going to now open this up for any discussion and also give Trustee Gauthier an opportunity to respond.
It's pretty simple. In August of last year, 2023, I sent an email to Dr. Gearing and his secretary, and I said I had asked in the very first meeting about becoming a trustee if I could see every school in the district. In fact, I even went as far as saying, I want to see the dirt. And Dr. Gearing looked at me and he said, you want to see the dirt? I'm like, yes, I want to see the land. I want to see everything we have. I want to see what's going on within the district walls and everything. And I even said, I do not need anyone to be there. We can simply, or I can go with someone to look at the buildings, and that's all I need. Well, by August, I had only seen, after 9 months on the board, only 5 of the 48 schools we have. At which time I said, at this rate, I will see only 27 schools out of those same 48 schools over the course of my 4-year on the board. So is there a way we could speed this up a little bit? After that, Dr. Gearing contacted me and he's like, well, would you like to go see this school? And so we started a weekly school by school look. And at first it seemed fine, and I would ask people if there was something they needed. But I noticed after a little while, with Dr. Gearing with me, there was a chilled and unvarnished effect on the people that we ran into. And the only way we can do a proper evaluation of the building, the facilities, is by getting that unchilled and unvarnished look. And unfortunately, by it being arranged week after week, I got to see that some of the district's, great employees, but I didn't feel like I was getting the full scope of everything. As of this May, in the last 24 months, we will have lost almost 1,400 teachers in 24 months. I want to know why those teachers are leaving. I want to know, is it a facility problem? Is it a management problem? What is it? And unfortunately, with Dr. Gearing insisting about coming with me, I cannot get that unchilled or unvarnished conversation with people. And so I have taken upon myself, when the opportunity arises, like at the bus garage, I had recently been working in my wife's garden, and frankly, I was dirty. And so I walked in and I said, do you mind if we have a down-to-earth conversation? That's why I sat on the floor. There was a chair in the room. I just said, be okay. I'll just sit on the floor. I'm okay with that. At any time someone has asked me to leave, I have left. My presence is nothing more to help the kids and the employees of the district. And unfortunately, Dr. Gearing, you are the boss, like it or not, and you give that chilled effect when people want to give an answer. And I started noticing that more and more. There's nothing here, everything's great. Not once did I hear any of the teachers want to talk about their salaries. We just had a discussion at the last meeting at what we'd like to do for the teachers. And in some of those reports, they left because of the salary. So how can I get a true scope without interrupting class, which I haven't, without interrupting the day-to-day? In fact, you're talking about on Friday, I simply went to the front of the building, went to the front office, and simply said, could I speak with the principal if they're available? If they weren't, I simply left my card and I left. If they were, and they had time, I waited, but by no means it was a requirement to talk to me. And I am trying to do my best role as a trustee, which is to try to find what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong. 1,400 teachers,
so
almost 50% is a lot of people. And to lose that kind of
Are you saying we lost 50% of staff in 1 year?
teachers, almost 50% of teachers
That's not true, Paul.
Well,
in 24 months. That is true. We have the documentation. I have witnessed it. I saw it.
we do get a summary from HR, or it's something that you can always ask for, that indicates the reason, because they do have an exit interview and they do state why they're leaving. And so we do have a summary of that. If you want to support the kids and the teachers, and the dirt that you need to be looking at is in downtown Austin. It's in the state capitol. It is not advocating for vouchers. It is for advocating against vouchers. It is for advocating for an increase in the basic allotment that has remained stagnant for over 5 years. It is advocating for an increase in our special ed allotment that has remained stagnant for over 30 years. That's where it even just starts.
I want to add that I have no doubt that when you went to all these campuses on Friday, that everyone met you with kindness and respectfulness and calm, because that's the level of professionalism that is LISD. And that is the level of professionalism that we strive for in difficult situations. But the reality is your presence on that Friday caused chaos. There were principals, there were reception, our front desk, office staff calling Dr. Gearing, calling Sarah Grissom, calling board members. They were fearful. They didn't know why you were there. You didn't know the purpose. And even the schools you weren't at, they were worried. Is he coming to my next? What do I need to do? Am I prepared? And so I want you to know that of course, everyone, they're professionals and they have been trained to remain calm and professional in difficult situations. And that's exactly what they did. But believe me, we all heard about it instantly. I think about if a grown person showed up at my office, at my workplace, demanded to enter private meetings, interrogated my employees about their salary.
You are putting things that
about
I didn't
different
demand to
things,
see,
insisting
didn't
on
demand at all.
insisting on sitting on the floor and occasionally crying while they're doing that. As a leader of my workplace, I would be concerned about the safety of everyone in that building. And so this conversation is not only about you accessing these buildings, it is about campus safety, campus security, because people are not feeling safe when this happens.
I would like to actually have some of those people, if they'd be willing, to come and testify at some point.
So
To see,
when
because
talk,
you say that, but I don't know what they think, actually. Is that what they told you?
so nobody wants to testify because you talk about the chilling effect of their boss being there. You are their boss's boss. So you want to talk about the chilling effect? That's the chilling effect. And no, none of them want to come talk. They're just like, as a board, I was getting the calls, hey, Gloria, you're board president. What are you going to do about this? How are you going to help me protect my campus? I can tell you the things you said because they called us and they told us what you said. Our parents, after graduation, as you walk them out and you say, hey, tell me all the terrible things that LISD did to your child. Here's my card. Call me. Those parents didn't appreciate that. They
I didn't say those words.
Today was a celebration, and you were turning it into something else.
I did not say those words.
We are
That's a lie.
we're hearing about all these things immediately from staff. And so no one's gonna wanna come up here and be put in this position. I know Dr. Gearing did talk to a lot of staff that were saying, how are you gonna protect us? How am I gonna keep my campus safe? Dr. Gearing, can you talk through some of those comments that you heard?
So yes, I certainly got concerned calls on Friday based on these visits. The difficult part is that we don't mind board members being on campus. We extend a lot of invitations to all of our board members to visit a lot of different activities that we have. It's common courtesy and good practice and outlined in board operating procedures for a reason that we pre-plan those. And so it's only fair to our staff that if we're gonna show up, that they understand what we're doing, why we're there. Go ahead.
This would be pre-planned without you, so just be me and the staff can just talk.
You had an opportunity to do that when the Vandergrift students invited all of us to come to their meeting. That meeting was student-led. They talked about all their frustrations, and they've done this so many times, and you didn't show, and it's not, Dr. Gearing wasn't there, their principal wasn't there, and it was fabulous. Let's put it that way. They came back with a lot of just what we saw today. They expressed their frustrations, but at the same time, they had solutions or recommendations, and those were passed on to the district, and the things that they can work on, they're working on. And so that's just how things work. It's just, imagine if all 7 of us just descend on all the schools in the district. That would be chaos. They have to teach. They have a job to do. That's not oversight. That's harassment.
How is that chaos if we stop in at the office and simply want to speak with the principal? How is that chaos?
They don't have enough time in the day to do what they need to do.
I want to jump in real quick because I spent 2.5 hours Friday morning. That should have been a great day because it was field days at every elementary. Fielding calls from individuals around the campus, not just principals, but teachers as well. Is he coming next to my campus? What are you going to do about it, Anna? I don't feel safe right now. This is not what LISD is about. Their big concern is they feel like you're getting them in a gotcha moment, and that's not what our job is. Our job is here to support and advocate for our staff. But that chilling effect, yeah. Anytime I hear that you're on a campus, I have staff texting me or emailing me. I don't understand, Anna. I don't like this, Anna. I'm worried, Anna.
What do you mean when they text you and I'm on? So
No.
if I'm at an event?
No, it's my.
What are you referring to?
No, just you being on campus and showing up that way. Like, I can give you a great example. On Friday, you showed up and you did cause a scene at one of the campuses. I heard about it. And the way you spoke to one of our administrators, that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not my job.
Which one are you
I'm not
talking
gonna,
about?
Paul, I know what you're doing. You know very well what you did. I'm going to keep it cool here, and I'm going to be level-headed with you. As a trustee, I have no business going into every campus and try to find the dirt, because that's not our job. You know what? It's not the district's job to build relationships with those administrators. That's on you. All of us have done the work in this district by building those relationships with those administrators and with those principals. They invite us because they know we're going to advocate for them. They know that our heart is in the right place and that we're not trying to get them in a gotcha moment because you're trying to find dirt that you think exists.
Are you saying I don't have my heart in the right place?
Paul, actions speak louder than words.
They do, which is why I've been trying to simply ask some simple questions about why the district is run in certain ways. And this board in particular, Dr. Gearing, it doesn't seem like you want me to be on campuses.
I would just like to add that the point of this agenda item is because we have board operating procedures that you are refusing to follow. I have children. I have children.
followed them. I told Dr. Gearing where I had been.
Can I finish? I have children on 2 of these campuses. I do not show up unannounced to events that are for my own children. Cindy gets an email. I'm going to be here today because there's a band concert. I'm going to be here today because I have an ARD meeting. The only time I show up unannounced is if my kids have a recently scheduled doctor's appointment. I walk into the office, I check him out, I leave. That is the only time I am unannounced. My children have come home because you arrived on their campuses unannounced. And their principals had to take time out of helping my children be educated because you wanted to see something without having asked first. This is a working school district. These people aren't here to have meetings with trustees. It is not our job to evaluate principals. It's not our job to evaluate teachers, and it's not our job to evaluate facilities. That is Dr. Gearing's job.
What do you think our job is?
I have a pretty good grasp on it, but my point is,
Please tell me, what do you think our job is?
our board operating procedures state that we are not going as trustees. We give our campuses the courtesy of scheduling visits and letting people know. It's in the board operating procedures. You've been asked multiple times to follow those procedures because our campuses are busy, and you showing up unannounced is a problem. And as a parent, I have a problem with you showing up and demanding my children's administrators take time out of their actual job to answer whatever gotcha questions you have this week. And it's procedures, you're not following them, and that is the bottom line.
In the procedures, it's supposed to say that we simply let Dr. Gearing know when we are on facilities. And I did that.
So that's not entirely true. The procedure says that you prearrange those meetings with our office so that we can make arrangements with the principals. So it's not okay for you to text me from transportation at 6 a.m. in the morning and say I'm at Central Transportation and then proceed. That is just not the intent and certainly not the wording that's in board operating procedures.
What is the intent? Because I'm feeling alienated from this group that simply we're not doing our full job. And it isn't to say a gotcha moment. I want to praise the district on so many things. But by having a pre-arranged time when everyone knows you're coming, do you think you're actually going to get
So
the actual answers that you need?
how successful have your
unannounced visits been?
Define success.
You define it. You looking for dirt? Did you find the dirt?
Okay, so it's very clear in our operating procedures that individual board members do not have an evaluative role in the district. I will remind you that the board is a corporate entity made up of 7 individuals that only have power as a corporate entity, as a one. So the only authority that the board has in the district is when they come together in a public meeting in the boardroom and make decisions as a corporate body. Those decisions are binding on the district. We do have the board's attorney here, and she can chime in if I misspeak, but that is how the system is designed. So as an individual, you do not have evaluative authority over individuals or facilities in the district. The board operating procedures are written in a way that help you to maintain that through the district. And that's why we have that. We give board members a lot of opportunities to come and celebrate with us on campuses, to see what's happening on campuses, to work with kids, to get to know our staff. In this case, in your case, I've taken a lot of time every single week to help you see what you've asked me to see. We've toured almost every campus in the district, almost every facility in the district over the last year or so. My takeaway has been that those have been really successful visits. You seem to have enjoyed them. You seem to have enjoyed visiting the facilities and getting to know them better. You seem to, that was your request from me in the beginning. You seem to enjoy interacting with our staff. You're generally happy when we're there. You love seeing our kids, especially our high needs students. You have a heart for them, and I appreciate that. And I think that has been very successful. That's why I've continued to do it, week in, week out, taking a lot of time to have those tours with you on an individual basis to make sure that you get to see what you want to see. I've asked you ahead of time where it is that you'd like to go next. We've had those conversations. That's also the time that you and I get to connect. And so we talk about other things as we're having those tours on those campuses. And that's your chance to do what the board's job is, which is management oversight. So as the superintendent, you hire me to run the day-to-day operations of the district, to manage the major business systems of the district. The board's job as a corporate entity is management oversight. And you do that through the mechanism of these public meetings. So that's why we have reports at all of these public meetings. We bring you oversight. You've just heard Dr. Poppy showcase what is happening on the financial side of the district. We do those in public. Those documents are available to the public. We make sure that if there's anything that you have questions about, we answer those questions ahead of time. We answer them in public, in the board meeting, in full transparency. We accept your requests for further information. We work extremely closely with you to make sure that you have a full understanding of the day-to-day operations of the district.
Do you think I'm going to be tough but fair?
I'm not sure that I understand the relevance of that question.
It's a simple relevance in the fact that I had asked you somewhere in the October-November timeframe that you didn't have to come with me. I could simply go to the facilities and just ask. You could let them know ahead of time.
You've made it very clear tonight to everybody that you have an evaluative intent in your visits. By your words tonight, by your actions on Friday, you have made it very clear that you have an evaluative purpose in these visits.
That is our job. We are governance oversight.
Job.
No, yes, it is.
That is absolutely not your job. And that's...
If I might.
Yes, please.
It is.
Yes. Dr. Gehring described the structure of the school system very well. What you have, and what I hear, Trustee Gautier, is that you are seeking information, and you certainly have a right to information, but there's a process, there's a mechanism for that, and you request your information through the one employee that you supervise, and that's the superintendent. And the policies are very clear that you're not to enter campuses for the purposes of evaluating personnel. And you have procedures for accessing information, for going onto campuses, and what the board is asking you to do is to comply with those procedures.
Madam President, if I can, I remember as a new trustee back in 2015, long ago, it was forever ago, and I went to SLI, and one of the first trainings they tell us is it's hard because you get used to campaigning, and sometimes you were campaigning for a superintendent position, so that's a trustee position, so you have to figure out exactly what role it is you're going to do. And you also have to quit campaigning when you're a trustee, that as a trustee now, you have to go into that role. I do believe the state, I think training is important to understand what our role is as a trustee. The state has developed the school board development framework. This is from the TEA. And I think it's a good resource to use, but I will just point out the last 4 bullet points, which is to understand and adhere to the laws and local policies and respect the superintendent's responsibility to manage the school district and to direct employees in district and campus matters, to adopt and adhere to establish policies and procedures for welcoming and addressing ideas and concerns from students, families, staff, and community. And our attorney just talked about our policies and procedures of how we do that. To establish and follow local policies, procedures, and ethical standards governing the conduct and operations of the board, and to understand the leadership role of the board president and adhere to local policies and procedures about the duties and responsibilities of our board officers.
Trish, what you just said, a part of it said to listen to the community members and the staff. With Dr. Gearing there, it is hard to get an unchilled, unvarnished. I was trying to do it. Dr. Gearing insisted on coming with me. I simply said early on that we can do it separately. How am I going to tell him how well he's actually doing?
So I think it's important to understand that if community members reach out to you and want to have conversations with you, that's perfectly fine. And you can have those one-on-one conversations. Board members do it all the time when community members reach out to them. What's different in this case is you are going to campuses and to departments and inserting yourself and forcing yourself on employees. That is a very different scenario.
I take offense to the word forcing. I simply went in to the front office, which we're supposed to do, check in, and if the principal wasn't there, I simply left and left my card for them to call me if they needed anything.
Can you talk a little bit about what you said to them? Because I can tell you what we all heard, and I know Dr. Gearing heard it also. It wasn't simply leaving your card. It was the district has their own personal chef, and they're having filet mignon, and they're wasting money. We don't have a personal chef, just so you know. Child Nutrition Services makes our food. We don't have filet mignon. Our wonderful students joined us for our dinner tonight. It was very good, but you know, it wasn't lobster and filet mignon. But so it wasn't just simply leave my card. It was, I need you. I know people are unhappy. I know people are leaving. I need y'all to come and talk to me. I need y'all to come to board meetings and advocate. So it wasn't as simply just leave your card. There were parents, there were volunteers, there were other people around when you said all these things. So believe me, we all heard. And when you talk about, I want to talk to principals, I want to talk to teachers, we all talk to principals and teachers because they reach out to us, because they trust us, because they know we may not all agree with each other all the time, but we're on the same path. We have the same North Star. We want what's best for our district. We have buy-in here. All of our kids belong here. We're a part of this community. We care about this district in so many ways. We've showed them time over time. They saw you as a community member coming up in citizen comments. They've seen the theater. And so if no one's reaching out to you and talking to you, it's because they don't trust you. That chilling effect on campuses, you are the chilling effect on campuses. You are the chilling effect at dance performances. You are the chilling effect that when you step onto a campus, that all of our phones blow up, that Dr. Gearing's phone is blowing up, that Sarah, that all of our area soups, every area superintendent Friday morning was on high alert. because everybody was concerned. I had principals calling me saying, it's my field day. What if he doesn't come in? What if he just comes around to the side? There were people that were terrified. And so, yes, you did disrupt operations of the school district that day. And when you talk about, I'm so concerned about I'm so concerned that we're spending money on board dinners on the evening of board meetings. I want you to be concerned about the waste that you're costing right now with our board attorney here. I want you to think about the waste you caused Friday morning and that chaos of every area superintendent. Stop what you're doing, area superintendents. You need to contact all your principals and let them know that, calm them down, let them know that we're gonna do everything we can. We're gonna follow our board operating procedures. You had this district in a standstill. Talk about learning lost, talk about dollars spent. That was you. That was you. Your chilling effect caused all of that.
You done? Because I would like to rebuttal on all that. What have I found out being inside the district, asking around a little bit, people coming to me? Well, you know, that personal chef, the child nutrition services, we have had that for over 10 years. Yes, when we did the very first meeting, the team of 8, I talked to someone, they were wearing a hat and they had the coat on. I said, hey, what outfit you with? Thinking there was some kind of catering service. They said, well, I'm with your outfit. And I'm like, our outfit? They're like, I'm Leander ISD's executive chef.
What the executive chef does, and the chef that's in there helping also works at one of our school campuses, but the executive chef does a lot of things around this district, a lot of programs, a lot of activities that happen every day. You know, in our board book on Friday, we get a list of here's all the things you're invited to. And I am, you know, I want the community to know, we actually, Mitchie and Cindy, arrange a list. Here's all the things you're currently invited to. Here's who's responded. And hey, if there's over, 3 of y'all going, that's a quorum alert. I need y'all to be aware of that. So we all know you're never on there. I can look through that list and I can count how many times your name has been on there. So when you're talking about wanting to show up for our students, show up for our teachers, the things that they're inviting us to, show up. Show up and celebrate and be a part of that. Instead of just, hey, I'm here to get some dirt. I'm here to get some dirt. When you do that, you are the chilling effect.
I'm here to get the truth. I'm here to be tough but fair. That is what I'm here to do, and to tell the truth. And you can play that game that it's through the Child Nutrition Services executive chef. But when other people are struggling in our district and they are finding out we are having these very nice dinners, they're not happy. They don't think that we should be getting them at all.
They're not happy that you went to the Capitol to advocate for vouchers. What you're talking about is pennies in comparison to what the state can do for public education with their $33 billion surplus.
The state is not going to solve all of our problems.
But we all were there advocating for them to increase our basic allotment. 5 years, they haven't increased it by a penny.
The last meeting we were here, just to finish on the food, I asked Pete, let's make a pledge.
No.
I'll make a pledge
No,
to
go
not
make a
eat
pledge.
food. I haven't eaten back there in over a year.
Go make a pledge downtown Austin. Make a pledge with them and tell them no vouchers.
And none of you wanted to do it. You're like, oh my gosh, wait, Paul's actually trying to get rid of our food.
Paul, you know what? I'll give you your $10 that your meal cost, and how about stopping wasting these
If we
dollars?
might, we probably need to pull it back to our agenda item.
Thank you.
And talk about the authority of trustees to what it is and what it isn't. So probably need to pull back to that. I would also offer that having lived in this community for 27 years, very aware that the board has multiple avenues by which people can bring concerns to the board. You've got your citizen comments. You've done countless listening sessions over the years. You have your email. So there are ways for people to bring concerns to the board without having to, directly to the board. So I'll just offer that.
I would just like to add that by sitting in this chair, whether you sign them or not, you're agreeing to follow the procedures of this board. And those procedures are that you're going to notify and schedule visits with campuses. As someone with children in the schools, that's also a safety concern. I'm not okay with anybody just showing up at my kid's campus and demanding the administrators or the teachers' time because they want dirt. They don't have time for that. My children are there to be educated, and those people who work in those schools are there to educate them. Those people are not there to placate board members. If you are not going to follow our procedures, then it's our job to take action on that.
You keep mentioning the word dirt. Why? I
who
have been
mentioned
trying
dirt.
to find out if people need anything. And Dr. Gearing, in the early stage, I said again,
But you were the one who said you were looking for dirt. This is
I
real
think we need to
gaslighting.
pull it back, as Holly mentioned, to our agenda item. I think we've all had an opportunity to voice. Are there any motions, any actions related to this agenda item?
In light of Trustee Gautier's continued willful disregard of the Leander ISD board operating procedures, I move that Board Policy BE Local be amended to include language from the board operating procedures about trustee visits to district facilities, and Paul Gautier be removed from all district and board committees, and the board hereby authorizes superintendent or other appropriate administrators to file criminal trespass complaints against Trustee Gautier if he continues to attempt to gain unauthorized school facilities. And the board directs superintendent to notify all district administrators and supervisors that Paul Gautier is not permitted to attend staff meetings or otherwise enter classrooms or buildings unless he has made prior arrangements through the office of the superintendent. And that board officers work with the district's communication team to deliver messaging to the staff about the appropriate role of school board trustees.
I second.
Christine makes a motion,
that
Francesca seconds.
that you just read was not.
I'm sorry, hold on, I'm in the middle of a motion. There was a middle of a motion. So Christine made a motion, Francesca second. Is there any further discussion on those motions?
Yes, there's lots of discussions. You did not disclose any of those things to me prior to this meeting.
Yeah, the item was on the agenda. Are you saying you didn't have a sample motion in the board book? That's not required.
You know, I had 42,000 votes, or 40 plus thousand, not 42, 40,000 votes voted against me, and I still won. And the people that voted for me have asked me time and time again. They have concerns. And the fact that Dr. Gearing did not think I was going to be fair and let me see the schools, schedule those schools, let them know I was going ahead of time, and made a point that he would go to every single one, which gave that chilling effect to everyone. I think that speaks a lot about the integrity of him and this board.
I have a further discussion, Trish?
I do, just for our board attorney, the motions that were just made, do you, as an attorney, feel like they're addressing the offenses that we brought up? Do you feel like any of them are outside of the issues that have been addressed, or do they help rectify some of the situations that we've discussed?
It sounded like the motion addressed the issues, the concerns that the board has regarding the violations of the board operating procedures.
All right, if there's no further
So-
discussion.
Sorry, just
oh, sorry.
clarification. So that's a remedy that is in line with the board
Right, the board
operating-
operating procedures allow for, initially a discussion between the board president and the trustee, and then a private discussion, which is what occurred here earlier, and then the discussion with the board as a whole. Typically, that occurs in closed meeting under the personnel exception, 551.074, but Mr. Gautier had requested that if the board discussed this as a whole, that it be an open meeting, thus the discussion this evening. And then either before or after those discussions, the board is entitled to take action to try to remedy the situation.
I just want to add for those who need to know, on 8/24 board meeting is when we approved those board operating procedures, and those were in place so trustees can be held to do our job.
And I voted against it.
You also didn't sign it, but rules still apply to you.
Rules apply to everybody.
Yes, the board operating procedures do apply to all 7 of us, and that's why all of us have to follow those board ops. We all have to notify administration.
Well, that includes
when we're
sexual
in campus.
harassment.
I'm sorry, we're not.
That
we're
includes
not-
in sexual harassment. Almost a year
Okay.
ago today,
All right.
a year ago
Holly,
today,
okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump in.
this board
Holly,
sexually harassed me. This
gonna
board
go ahead and
sexually
let
harassed
Holly-
me, and I have with
would
me
like
the
to-
tapes where Holly here actually admitted
Okay,
it happened.
We're going to let
I have
Holly
the tapes
answer.
where the chief of police said
Okay,
that someone talked to you, Gloria.
I will
I have the
address
tapes
that.
of the detective.
I'll do it.
So
if you're talking about
that matter
following
has
board
been
procedures and following rules,
investigated and determined not to have merit, and that's not our agenda item this evening.
Yeah, that was
can't
investigated
believe you, Holly.
and found to
Twice.
not have merit. So we're going to move back to the
Twice.
agenda item. We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion on that item?
This board says it's supposed to follow procedures.
I'm going to go ahead and vote to call
It
a
doesn't.
vote. I'm going to make a motion to call a vote.
Because we have
All
never
of
had.
those, all of those in favor of calling a vote. All right, 6 in favor. Any opposed to calling a vote? 1 opposed, motion passes. So we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor of the motions read by Christine and second by Francesca. 6 in favor. Any opposed? 1 opposed. Motions pass. Now we will move into closed session. It is 9:20 p.m. and the board will go into closed session for the purposes permitted by Texas Government Codes 551.071, consultation with attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation and/or attorney-client privilege matter. Texas Government Code 551.74, personnel, deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, and duties of a public officer or employee. Texas Government Code 551.0821, deliberation regarding matters whereby personally identifiable information regarding 1 or more students will be disclosed. No action will be taken in closed session. Any action related to closed session agenda items will be taken when the board returns to open session. All right, I'm going to call us back in now. It is 9:37 p.m. and the board is returning to open session. We do not have any motions related to closed session agenda items, so this meeting is adjourned.